They say that the middle of summer is really the dog days of sports, but boy, oh boy, you look at the calendar, Wimbledon, big news in hockey and basketball, and a little thing called Formula One. Hello and welcome to The House That Happens, sponsored by Shuey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke. Voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA, and you know it's number 1 in our hearts. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
Cruz, how are you doing this week?
Should I start telling people they can call me Jack? Stop it, never mind, just a joke. Anyways, we'd be remiss.
That's a callback to last show.
That's what I'm saying, and a couple of people reminded me of it.
Yes.
So, okay, guess what? I know you're listening, see? In any event, we would be remiss. God bless my father, my uncles, all the people that served in the war. But this is July 4th.
Independence Day.
God bless America and Joe Biden's health.
Did you see the sketch that was like on an Italian show?
I want to see it.
Oh man, it's just like Joe Biden's like, oh yeah, the president of Israel, Michael Jordan.
God. You know what? I just got to say this. It ranks as one of the most pathetic displays of debate I've ever seen in my life. Pathetic on both sides.
I agree.
Okay, on both sides. Worse than anything Trudeau I've ever seen him in, and it was even bad. But the sad state of affairs, and we'll get on because we're not a political show, is the fact that America is the most powerful country in the world, and I could see red spots on Biden's head, which is a sign of steroids. When you jack someone up, it comes out. And so I looked on the head, I go, this guy's jacked. Not only was he jacked, he could barely stand. So just think of this. The leader of the free world is not very, I think that something's going to happen before then. But here's my point, and I'll give it the sports angle. It got so pathetic, they started arguing about their golf handicaps.
I know.
Wait, the world is in crisis. We got war, people starving, not enough energy, climate change, social justice engineering. I seen your swing.
It was a pretty pathetic debate.
Okay, enough is there. God bless America, July 4th in Detroit, Michigan. Miss you.
I'd like to start off with a shout out to Rob's bachelor party from last weekend. We had a blast. We went to Mossport, did the carts there.
That must have been a gas.
Oh, it was amazing. It was so much fun.
Nobody got hurt.
No one got hurt, thankfully.
How fast the cars get going? 60?
I would say they top out probably around like 80, but like they didn't have the full straightaway, so we were probably driving them at 60.
You have to wear helmets and everything, right?
Helmets, they had like the full racing suit, gloves.
Wow.
The track was wet, so it was a little extra wrinkle in there. It was a lot of fun.
It's at Mossport, right?
Yeah. I was 8 out of 11, but I had the second fastest lap. So what does that make me? Lance Stroll or Yuki Tsunoda, I guess?
Oh, somewhere around there, I guess you could say. By the way, what was the fee? How much was it? Was it that expensive?
I can't remember. I paid this a long time ago. But,
okay.
But
you get a pass for something?
Yeah, so we're technically part of the league now. So whenever we go back so we can go back the rest of the summer, it's only like $60 for another session now.
That's cool. That's cool.
It's awesome.
I got to try that out. That's something I will do there, about that. Any other, we got some more shout outs than that.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, all the people that were at so-and-so Mark's bachelor party?
Rob's bachelor party.
I heard I kept the vibe alive. Just saying.
He did.
Thank you. Okay, that's all you need to know.
Mark, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Shout out to Henrik Sedin's son, Walter, making his pro debut with Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2. Incredible to see this father-son in sports keeping it alive there in the family.
I think that's absolutely amazing, and I heard Henrik was there at the game, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I heard he was at the game. That is so cool, all that father and son stuff, because and we've got enough. When you just hear about the Bronny LeBron thing, whatever, father and son thing, I always think that stuff's amazing. You know what I mean? Which leads me to this shout out. My son's team, which he coaches and manages, the San Fran Sluggers, are now the preeminent team in our league of, what would you call it? Mediocre teams? No, I won't say that, guys. I know you're listening. I'm just going to say this. First of all, I don't care what anyone says, Andrew. I sucked, I thought. Had a couple good plays. My legs worked well.
You didn't suck. The results sucked.
Okay, whatever the case may be. I didn't think I had my best game, but I had a big shout out. We had, I'm going to say it right now so all those guys can hear it. We had questionable batting lineup issues. We took the first game to frickin' la-di-da-di-dee. We had a walk-off win. However, bottom of the order, which included me, drove in the runs. Big game from BOH. Cody pitched well, drove the ball well. The result of the doubleheader was we won 16-0 and mercied them in the second game.
Nice.
That is Sluggers baseball. So if you're listening to me, guys, we all know we can play. We all know we can play a little bit of defense. Stay focused at bat. Nobody's a hero, and we're having a great season. Can't say enough about my team, my son running the team, and we're having a good time.
Love it.
I think we're 12-3-1 now.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, I think because you were 10-3-1 last week, so that's up.
To the Sluggers.
To the Sluggers.
Hopefully I'm there tomorrow night for a beer.
So I went to the Blue Jays game with my brother on, what would that have been, Tuesday.
The only time they won this
The only
week.
time they beat Houston, yeah. And one hypothetical me and my brother came up with, because we'd like to do stupid things like this. If you had to put in a baseball starting lineup of Disney characters, who would it be?
Oh,
Center fielder, easy.
Who's that?
Tigger.
Oh, you're killing me. Disney characters, right?
Yeah, so I would have Hercules in right field.
Okay, he's got an arm.
I'm putting, what have in left? I think I had Mulan. She could play with the boys.
Okay, did Mickey get a chance at this?
Nah, Mickey can sit on the bench.
First base coach.
That's sure. First base coach.
You got to throw him in there. He's Mickey, Come on. You can't just leave him out.
Yeah, I got Aladdin as second base. He's got the quick hands,
Oh, Aladdin.
Tarzan is my shortstop.
Oh, my God.
Beast is my third baseman.
God, Beast. Can he hit?
I'm sure he can.
I guess he can. He's going to get in the way of the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Kronk, I don't know if you're familiar with Kronk. You never seen The Emperor's New Groove. Great movie, by the way. He's my first base.
Okay.
Catcher.
I'm wondering about that. Who would your catcher be?
Oh, I had Quasimodo.
Oh, okay. In a weird kind of way, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the plate, I can see him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I can see him. So, I'll give you that. That's a bizarre
He
team.
can move too, so.
Yes, and he can move.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll pick up those bounces coming in because who's pitching?
Pitt. Okay, so this one is a little bit of a reference to this infamous. There was a Winnie the Pooh baseball game.
Yes, there
Christopher
was.
Robin's a great pitcher according to this game, so he's my starting pitcher.
Wow.
And then I got Pooh as my DH because he's built like most DHs. So.
Okay, huge shout out. If you guys know, Gaff would be amazing to hear that. That's an interesting team. I'm gonna listen to the show and go home and remind myself of a couple of characters, but Buddy behind the plate sounds realistic. I like Hercules in right field.
I was debating him third base, right field. I'm like, nah, you want that arm in right field.
And you got Buddy Beast at third, and he ain't gonna be as fast as Hercules in right field, but he's gonna knock the ball down.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a big go, yeah.
I'm sure someone listening is gonna yell, getting news that LCBO's on strike.
Scummers, yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure someone's yelling right now that I missed someone. Or
100%. And if you do, give us a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to hear your thoughts on the Disney starting roster for baseball.
Yeah.
Also, would like to shout out a couple ESPN 30 for 30 documentaries.
Oh, okay. Before we get that,
Okay.
I have a shout out because that's a little bit more conducive to the show.
Okay.
My shout out's a little bit more personal. It goes out to a young lady named Radhika.
Okay.
Who sent me an absolutely amazing message just to say how much she supports the show, gives it a listen, and I love the support. So I could not come on the air today without saying thank you very much. Much appreciated.
And we might have a little surprise from Radhika later in the show.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see about that. Yeah. Any other shout-outs before the docs?
No, we're good.
So there's two ESPN documentaries we got to get to. One is the Heisman race in 1997.
Okay.
So that's one of the shorter ones. It's like only an hour long with commercials. I had no idea it was such an intense race. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Ryan Leaf, and Randy Moss.
Yeah.
We're all in contention. Ricky Williams was kind of there too, but was not a finalist for the award. So
for a variety of reasons. Number one is he was from Texas, and they knew what was going on there. So let's just keep Ricky over there. That's a sin because he had the best season probably out of all of those guys, except for my buddy Charles Woodson.
Well, who ended up being the award winner eventually
from Michigan.
I was gonna give you shit for spoiling the end for me, but then it's an event that happened 26 years ago. So I mean, that's kind of on me. I feel like, but I think they did a great job with the documentary. It's all footage from the past, no modern interviews, which is a really cool way to do it. And they really frame it, making you think that Peyton Manning's going to win it if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, of course it was. And he was a preeminent favorite. But here's what happened.
Oh, 100%.
But here's what happened. He lost the big game again. You know what I mean? But I think, was the voting in by then? I'm not sure.
The bowl game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was already in by then, but he had lost to Florida early in the season. That was a big one.
Yeah, so he just didn't. And then when he ended up going to the bowl game, he lost.
And he lost the SEC championship too, which I think might have affected the voting.
Oh, I'm saying for sure, because it would have been there. Because, of course, he was like already, of course, we know who Peyton Manning ended up being, what happened. But I wasn't cheering for him. I was cheering for Woodson.
Michigan guy. There you go. But one thing that really got me was Peyton Manning. I mean, besides having more hair back then, he has not changed one bit.
Not a bit. They said that he walked into high school, into the training facility in Tennessee, put on that persona, the sheriff, and it carried through his career. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. It rubbed some players the wrong way along the way, but what was he just looking for? Excellence.
Yep.
That's all he was searching for, excellence. And as a matter of fact, because I'm such a Brady guy, I have more respect for Peyton now than I did during the game, because I thought he had rabbit feet at times. You know, he did. And he only got 2 rings. And he was
only 2 rings.
He only got 2. And he had to go to 2 different teams to do it. And the last time he won it, he didn't win it. The defense.
I got you.
But in any event, that's a good 30 for 30. I think everyone should check it out, because
3 Hall of Famers, and all 4 of those guys got drafted in the first round that year.
Oh, and Ryan Leaf is what? The 3rd biggest bust in the history of football?
Wow. Let's not put him down.
Okay, because he's come back a long way.
Yeah,
he's come back, but that's a great thing. Think about those 4: Randy Moss, one of the greatest; Woodson, one of the greatest; Manning, all 3 in the Hall of Fame.
Yep,
unbelievable draft, unbelievable. Mm-hmm.
But not to bury the lead here, but one of the more recent 30 for 30s is I'm just here for the riot. Obviously, about the Vancouver riots of 2011, which happened when I was 18, so that's still kind of fresh in my mind. The good, bad, and ugly of human beings all shown off in this documentary.
Can I give full disclosure? Last night when I was finishing watching this, because I had only watched about the first hour and I had just gotten deep into it, I had to text you to say what? I'm having trouble watching this, bro. Like this, not only, I'm not a big fan of humans to start, but now when I see this display of humanity, I have zero empathy for any of the characters that were explored in this whole 30 for 30 documentary. You know what I mean?
Except for the guy who was maybe trying to stop people who got beat up.
Oh, yeah, no, that guy there too. And the guy that they interviewed from 94 that got in trouble.
Yeah.
And he came and he said, hey, man, that's just the way that it's going to be. But first of all, one of the things that I'm going to let you bring this up. When you talk about all this stuff and the end results is, one thing that they didn't bring up in the documentary that I thought they should have was nobody talked about the financial damage. Nobody talked about all those businesses. What is going to be insurance? What the cost of living? You want to know what's so high on the left coast? Just think of a riot of that scale. The damage that was done had to be all replaced. Okay? Thank God the one shining light of the whole thing is, like that guy said, the next day the Vancouverites were down on the street helping.
Cleaning up, yeah.
That's just amazing. That's the good side of Canadiana. But I would have thought they would have said, how much did this cost the economy and the taxpayers of Vancouver or BC? Because there's no other big business going out there. Billions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the documentary focuses more on, I guess, the social media whole output of the whole thing, right? Of how they used it, the good, bad, and ugly again. Like how they used it to catch a lot of these dirt bags, and then the backlash that they got. People sending death threats are idiots too, but
oh yeah, because that's what they were saying, that the online abuse was there. But at least a couple of these people say, oh, we deserved it, or I had to turn off my Facebook, or whatever the excuse may be. I'm going to put it to you this way: the guy that used to be that biker guy lost all his sponsorship. So what? The guy that was going to go to doctor school. So what? The girl that said, well, I had a little drug problem. So
she was the worst one.
How did they put her on there?
She was the one, she had no empathy for what had happened.
So
at least the guy who was going to go into med school, he's like, he had some empathy, especially for the people that he affected around his life.
Exactly.
But that other chick, I felt like she had not learned one thing.
And you know what? And that's what I said. I did not feel sorry for her. That was getting to that point where I was saying, I'm having trouble watching this.
Yeah, she was tough to watch.
Very tough to watch. And the lack of respect.
Lack of understanding.
The whole 9 yards. I did feel for the girl that happened to be in the picture, and she had nothing to do with the riot.
Yeah, I felt for her.
Okay, but you're collateral damage. You know what I mean? How you're going to look at it. But, when you see the destruction and the stupidity over a hockey game is just maddening. But I'm going to let you make an interesting point about the whole media thing, which I really caught on to.
It was the traditional media that was really hyping this up from the start.
Oh.
And they were just like showing, pictures, video of the 94 riot, like in kind of preparation of 2011 Game 7, where they're like, oh, is this going to happen? And again, is this going to happen again? And they kind of made this like, I don't know, pseudo tradition thing out of it.
Oh, what did they say?
The CBC guy there who was like, I don't know, he kind of refused to take any responsibility.
The Indian guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I forget his name. I meant to write it down. That guy wanted to jump in the screen and slap. He sat there as smug as a bug going, what? We were doing our job. Isn't this the play? No. We're looking at it in a historical perspective. This guy was a scumbag too.
I agree.
He totally, and I was, because what was it? And the two guys had to say, all of a sudden the premise before the game that was permeating even the Vancouver area was what? There's only two things that are going to happen. We're going to win or riot. What?
Yeah, it's messed up.
What? That was the premise going into the game? Whew, glad I'm not a Canuck fan.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't live in Vancouver. Then the one guy who I did find really interesting in there was like the guy who was the videographer, and he was kind of like, well, I kind of participate in the riot just by having a camera there. Like, people want to do stuff on camera, right? I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, but then he filmed it too. Okay,
yeah.
So, and then they say, well, that's good because some of the stuff was like we could get from his camera, but he's going, listen, I had a real camera. He guys got knocked off his shoulder at one point, but there was a million people with cell phones anyway. Yeah. So, like,
good, bad, and ugly again.
Oh, unbelievable. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I'll ever watch that 30 for 30 again.
Yeah, I don't think I will either.
I would watch the one with Woodson and the boys. I'll watch that 5 more times just to get every detail, but I will never watch this one again because my level of disgust by the time I got to the end of it was like, you know what, I don't like feeling disgusted. And that's the thing. I had no empathy for anybody. Sorry about that. What they did to the city over a hockey. And that one guy wasn't really a hockey guy. Showed up with a hockey stick with a bear on the end, going down the road. I took some funny. LSD. I know, but I took some LSD. It took over me. Shut up.
Yeah, that's lame. It's weak.
So let's put it this way. If you want to watch it and see what we're talking about, feel free to do so. I personally will never watch it again.
I think I would recommend watching it at least once, though.
Agreed. Okay,
it's an ugly part of our history, but it's Canadian history nonetheless.
Yes, it's there.
Speaking of ugly, how about that crash in the Austria Grand Prix last weekend? Lando and Max fighting for that win. Not so buddies after that, but George Russell sneaking in there, grabbing his second win of his career. That had to be one of the best races, or the best race all season, really. Oh,
no doubt. It was the best race, but they're picking on my boy Max. I was pissed about that. You know what I mean? Lando thought he could do it. I know you're explaining to me the width and the braking, but...
You're not allowed to move under braking, and Max was a little liberal under those rules, let's just say.
And you play any sport, you bend the rules as far as you can, correct?
He bent it he was doing it too much, though, and you caused a crash.
Lando should have been a better driver. Because he came.
Max should have been following the rules.
Okay, Lando was. You know what? He was aggressive too.
I get that.
You know what I mean? And that's what made for the intensity of the race. With not only that, the guys 4 or 5 cars behind him, they're having their own battle because they want to get constructor points and all that crazy ass shit. I thought it was cool. I'm really sorry that Lando's car got wiped out completely. That's a drag. Because if they both had gone in and got their shit on and got back out. But when the main thing came in, Max tried to move away. Lando was still coming at him. That's how I looked at it. That's why his car got more damage. And I thought Max was done too. But when they took that whole casing off and put the whole casing back on, modern technology, baby. They had him back on. Like, you see him going into the pit. I thought shit was going to get banged up and stuff, and the next thing you know, boom, they had him on. He was back on the track. I was very...
Not Lando's car, though.
Oh, no, Lando was in thanks for coming out mode, okay? But I was very interested because they were talking about the wind variance on the track combined with the weather conditions. So, when they were coming up and he was drafting and they were doing all that shit, I was because they were in Austria.
Yep. And
where the place is located, that kind of got my ear a bit. I thought it was interesting because like that affects like so many things about the races we always talk about, but... the drama at the end was outstanding. I'm going to say this. I'm still a Max guy. I like Max more now than I've ever done before. He's my favorite villain in the history of sports. And the reason is because after the race, he went to Lando. It took him a couple days, and they sat down and talked. They're good buddies.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they sat down, and he says, hey, man, he goes, I was there once too. I'm looking for my first win. And goes, I got 62 now, so I can see where he was going. And I don't know if they're going to have beers again, but it sounds like they jumped over the fence. You know what I mean? Like, cool down.
Have either of them taken responsibility yet, though, for the crash?
No.
Yeah, well, there you go.
No, so no, you did it. I did it. So then they just say, we'll be a little careful next time? I don't know. I just made for a great race. But the best part of the whole day, though, was when Russell walked up to that podium. He couldn't get the bird out of his mouth the whole time.
When he did that, like, T-pose out of the car, wanted to shoot him.
I was rolling off my couch laughing. I said, I could feel that guy. But that's the beauty of sports. I could feel exactly how he felt that. What am I doing here? Now that I'm here, let's have some fun with it. Right? First
crazy?
Career win or second career win?
Second career win.
Yeah, first win of the season, right?
Yep.
And first in 2 years.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm got a heart on. I'm full blown. I'm getting to the car going, happened to me. I'm a lucky guy.
Just right there picking up the pieces. And you got to think if Oscar just qualified a little bit better, because he had some trouble qualifying, that could have been his win.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're saying. And you know what is just wait a second here. I've got this down. When you think about it, okay, it was Russell, Pastriani,
Piastri.
And Sainz. So your Ferrari boys got lucky in this because their cars all moved up, so they got some points. So here's what's really, really got me fascinated now. When you look at it, the top 4 teams are only separated by 150 points. That's interesting. Oh, that's the top 4 teams. Yeah. They're there. There's only about, 120 some points between 4th and 1st in the driver's standings. We're only halfway through the season. We could have some shit happen this year. And what's more that people should understand, which gets me excited because that's how I'm falling in love with this F1 thing. Where are we going next week, bro?
Silverstone. Hold on. I got some more to say about Austria, though.
Okay.
But some other big things there, like Haas picking up a big 12 points.
Oh, that was major for them.
And Aston Martin, once again, continuing to fail to score points. I think it's only a matter of time before a team like Haas or RB are going to catch up to them in the standings.
But I think you should be happy with your Ferrari boys because they sneak more points in than they expected to. You know what I mean? And it was
Leclerc had terrible luck, though.
Oh, I feel for the guy. I do. But because he should have been better. But Sainz got on the podium. Yep. That's good for you. And Mercedes slipped up with a big break for them.
The first and the fourth.
You got it. Moved them right up. So, they might not even have got a podium if they're, I think Russell would have held on to the 3rd place anyway.
Yeah, he would have.
But, I mean, look at the points movement for them, which puts the pack a little bit tighter of those top 4. And McLaren ain't going away. And they're not going away. There was just so many things about the race that were interesting. Like, I watched the whole thing. I watched the last 20 laps twice. Just to remind myself what they're going on, that cool corner where they're rolling up, the stuff that was going on the radio, people having a little trouble with their cars, how they're fighting through it. Because like you said, for all the people out there go, F1, hooey, you get in that car going that fast for that long and you think you're not an athlete, then you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like what they go through mentally and physically, especially in a race like that, come on. It's insane. So, you know what I mean? And it's off to Silverstone.
Yeah, but and I just want to say too, when that crash happened, I was watching it at the bachelor party with the boys. We were going nuts.
I bet you guys all were, right? Because it was but the intensity of the 5 laps previous. I smelled something was going to go on, but I said, no, not really, will it? Nah, nothing will go on, really, will it? Oh, gee, shit happens. You know what I mean? But here's the great thing. Lando's making a big name for himself with a good car. Yep. Okay? What was the results of last year's Silverstone? Who was 1 and 2?
I'm trying to think.
It was Max
and Lando?
Oh, so this week in Silverstone, do we get the sequel?
Could be.
Max and Lando at Silverstone, a sequel. After they talked and said everything's okay. Bullshit. Once you get on that level and you start flying around, man, there's no friends. No. Come on. You know what I mean? At this level of competition, at this money, at this stakes, sorry, I like you only in the bar having you a beer. We're on the track right now. Fuck off. You know what I mean? Pretty simple, I think.
Oh, yeah. And you got to wonder, Sergio Perez, another underwhelming finish for him. Still hanging on to 5th in the Drivers' Championship, but...
I was shocked at that. When I looked at the standings and he was in 5th, I went, wow, he's done that well this year?
I know it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's what's keeping Red Bull abreast of everybody. If they maintain the status quo for the rest of the year, they'll win the Constructors and Max will stay there. But I'm not saying
I think Constructors is more up for grabs, you may realize, because of Perez.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up the difference in the Constructor points now really surprised me. Compared, look at this time last year. There was a valley. Yeah. There was a valley between these.
Everyone's been catching. Red Bull, I think they went on a pace that they couldn't even keep up with.
Possibly.
Right?
Possibly.
It was inevitable that other teams were going to catch up to them. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they're still number one.
Agree. But you go back to 12, 13 years ago, Red Bull was like McLaren, remember?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess if you just have the right people, right place, right time, away you're going to go.
A little bit of a different situation, though, because Red Bull, 10, 15 years ago now, they were with Sebastian Vettel winning championships. McLaren, it's been a long time.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm still liking Zach Brown. I hope to go for a beer with him one day. Great race. People, pay attention to Formula One. It's a lot of fun.
And should be an exciting race this weekend in Silverstone.
Which is in North England, Cardiff or somewhere?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Cool.
We'll move this on from the best in racing to the best in tennis, as it is Wimbledon, basically the crown jewel of the whole tennis season. We'll begin, I guess, with the women's side. Anything catching your eye?
No, too bad Sabalenka had to leave, because I thought it was going to be a Sabalenka-Coco Gauff final, but we'll just forget that.
Coco Gauff, I think it might finally be her time.
Well, we're going to get there, but the first thing I want to do about a couple of nuances about this whole Wimbledon thing. Did you see this Russian guy lose his shit on the court?
No, I didn't see this.
Okay, his name is Andrei Bublev or whatever, and he's about 6th or 8th ranked in the world. Rublev, yeah, you know Rublev, right? I've seen him get a little bit freaking antsy before. Spoiled rotten kid. Like, you know what, anybody, just YouTube the guy's name or put him up somewhere. And this display of tennis, like everyone says about the McEnroes and all these guys over the years, smashing rackets, everyone getting a little upset. Nadal had his moments. But this was sheer stupidity. This was stupidity on the level, he was about as smart as those guys that were in the Vancouver Riot 30 for 30. He was on this level of stupidity. But any event, when I see stuff like that in tennis, I always say, when you come up in tennis, it's usually because you're in the upper echelon to get you in there and make things happen. So you're spoiled. But when I see those displays of tantrum, I want to reach into the screen and hit him with the goddamn racket. Horrible display at Wimbledon. Disrespect for the event, the institution, the historical part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do anything this stupid. Even the guy from Australia, what's his name? Big tall guy?
Oh, God. The guy hasn't played in a while.
He hasn't played. Yeah. He's getting his mental health together. Worse than that. You ever see him? This is anything that you've seen him
done.
Oh,
God, my mom hates him.
Oh, then you show your mom this. This is worse than anything that this guy's done. Sorry we forget your name, but your name gets forgotten when you do stupid things.
Yeah, basically. And when you're not playing as well.
There you go. But anyways, back to the women's side.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Swacek, we're in the third round.
Yep.
We're going into the third round, I should say. Swacek still alive. Coco Gauff still alive. Caroline Wozniacki still alive as a wild card. She will be playing Rybakina, who's number 4, right?
But we should have said something that's very significant.
Bianca Andreescu still alive?
Oh, well, you beat me to that. I'm cheering. Okay, we're going to get that. So give me a second. The number 1 seed went home in the first round. Vanadrozova.
Swacek's the number 1 seed.
I mean, number 2. No, the defending champion. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Defending champion. First time since, I think, Steffi Graf or something.
Yeah.
First time a defending champion went out in the first round. She looked shaky as hell. I felt sorry for her, but I was never a big fan. But I thought that she would be there. So that's a big loss for her because of Vanadrozova and Zabalenka, who, when they were pumping to get it open, they were the part of the promotion. Their faces were on there as prominent as anybody else.
There's a big upset. I think it was in round 2 of the men's, though. Rude went home in the second round.
Yeah. He looked terrible. I watched the match. Anyways, about the women's thing, how do you say her name? Brendan Andreescu? Andreescu. Anyways, girlfriend, I love you. She's looked great.
Playing Paolini, though, in the next round.
Oh, gee. I don't know. But this is her game looks better. She looks like, the bulldog that she was before. That aggressive bulldogs with those freaking deep shots coming to the net, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying she's going to beat Paolini because what's she ranked? 6th in the world? 8th?
7th in the world? 7th in this tournament, at least.
Yeah, 7th seed. And she's what? She wasn't even seeded.
No.
unseeded to get there. Good luck to her, man, all the way from Mississauga. Get your game back. Wasn't it great when she won the freaking U.S. Open?
That was amazing.
And what has she done since then? Model clothes, be on a Bacchus food show, do a couple of things in the old country, and that's about it. You know what I mean?
I don't think Ibaka fed her the penis pizza, though. Something tells me that.
I don't think he did either, but that's another story. Ever see that with Bo?
No, the Ibaka?
Ibaka used to have a show, and he'd
No, I know the show.
Okay, so his guests that day were Bo Bichette,
Bianca,
and was it a hockey player too? Maybe it was Morgan Riley.
Interesting trio.
I don't know, but I think it was a Leaf too. But anyways, let's not get off subject. My prediction right now is that it could be Goff and Swiatek because they could line up to go.
So.
That would be so good. But just you know what the number one thing is? I hope everyone stays healthy. You know what I mean? Because that kind of takes the balance out of the game when you hear someone got hurt or bad ankle, whatever the case may be. I just want everybody to be there because Osaka didn't make it anywhere either, did she?
No.
She made a quick exit. I don't know.
I think she was out in round 1 as well.
Was it round 1? I know she didn't last very long. So the names go down, but we just hope the other girls can bring the game up so bring more eyeballs to the game. But if it's Goff and Swiatek in the finals, that's getting ratings.
Yeah,
100%. That should be. It would be a great match. And Coco looked ridiculously good since she's been out there. She looks like she's in practice rounds. You know what I mean? But Swiatek didn't look like she was breaking a sweat either.
No.
So let's hope we get there.
Coco's still looking for her first major or first Grand Slam, I should say, and Swiatek looking for his first championship at Wimbledon. Should be interesting.
Swiatek's got what? The 3 Frenches, right? That which we talk about.
Yeah, and she's got.
Don't worry, Coco going to get her on this surface. But remember, how old's Coco?
Oh, was she like 20?
20.
To 20? Okay, there we go then.
She's got time to win some.
Swiatek's still 23 though.
Yeah, no, she's not old either. But
she's got 4 French Opens and a U.S. Open.
There you go. But this surface has never been her. I don't even think she's got to the semifinals at Wimbledon.
She went to the quarters last year. That's the furthest.
That's the furthest she's gone. Should be interesting, you know?
Yeah, and also this round matchup I'm looking forward to, Sakari versus Raducanu.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
That should be tomorrow, right?
I believe so. And the winner of that should make it to the quarterfinal, so it should be very interesting.
The road got a little easier because of. That's okay. That's just the way it goes. You play who's in front of you in any sport. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about Djokovic? He had a grind today.
I didn't see the result yet. Let me pull that up in the bracket.
You'll see it there.
Because he is at the bottom. He won in 4 sets.
Yep. But he looked a little, I think it's just early, and it was a muggy day in England, too.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Won the first 2 sets 6-3, 6-4, so it looks like he's in form, or at least getting there.
I'm just shocked when the way that he left Paris, that we weren't supposed to see him for a while because he was going to preserve himself for the Olympics.
We thought that, the next time we were going to see him was in Paris.
Yeah, exactly. And here we are. Like, a remarkable recovery. I don't know. They have better techniques of putting it together in Europe from my point of view, from what I hear, or whatever the case may be. But I'm very interested in the men's draw. I'm disappointed that Rudd went out. Rude, whatever his name is. I thought that he would make a run. I've already seen a great match with your Italian brethren.
Sinner?
Against Bertinelli?
Berrettini,
whatever. Good match.
3 of the 4 sets went to tiebreaker.
Yes, it was a battle. And obviously they know each other. They're both going to go to the Olympics together, I believe. So he's probably had a lot of practice time together, so he probably knows Sinner's game better than anybody. But it was a war. But basically what happened, in my opinion, is Sinner's experience wore him down because he got him in the 4th set. And you could tell that Sinner did not want to go to a 5th set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But great match. Best match I've seen of the tournament so far.
And Sinner, he's finally got that monkey off his back, finally won that major. So you got me thinking he's just looking for more. Although, whoever Shapovalov is in his bracket's obviously not good for our Canadian. He's got to go through Shelton first, but
they're playing today. Did they play today or are they playing in the morning?
They're probably playing in the morning.
You know what's really disappointed? Fernandez and Felix. Where are they?
Home.
This is their surface, I thought.
Felix lost in the first round, did he not?
Yes. Yeah. And Fernandez lost the second round, right? I believe first or second, but they looked terrible. I thought this was their surface. I thought they would give a showing. So Shapovalov, do something tomorrow and keep that Canadian thing alive.
Hopefully.
Got one guy we haven't mentioned who seems to be completely under the radar.
Alcaraz?
Oh, that's...
I was looking at his match. He's got Tiafoe next. Sorry, Tiafoe, you're going home.
That could be a battle.
Could be.
Tiafoe going to show up, and he's one of those guys. That's tomorrow too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got that one on my radar. I'm definitely going to watch that match. It's going to be good. I think that everyone's talking about everybody because of Djokovic playing so soon, Sinner being number one, a couple of people rising up. And we suddenly forgot this time last year, Alcaraz was freaking the cat's ass. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And now they're he's disappeared that quickly? Stop it. Like, if he wins Wimbledon, are you going to be shocked? No,
he can't be.
Come on. That's what I'm saying. So give the guy his flowers. Don't forget about him. Like, here today, gone tomorrow. That's probably with the history of sports nowadays, how it goes like that. Like, you're great, like, up and down bullshit. The guy's going to be an all-time great. Well, I shouldn't say that because it's too early.
It's lining up that way.
Yeah, but his trajectory of his career so far, he's an outstanding player. I love his game. I hope he gets down to the quarterfinals and all that. You know what I mean?
He should. The way it's lining up, it's he could potentially be in the semifinal with Sinner.
Yep.
And then on the other end, Zverev and
I like
Djokovic.
Zverev I like a lot too.
You got to wonder if it's his time. Number 4 ranked seed.
This is his surface.
Yep.
He likes this too. That's what I'm saying. That's another guy that hasn't gotten enough talk about. And you know what? For a weird reason, I think because it's the early rounds, I think the women's got a little bit more attention than the men's. I think that there's just a variety of players that people know more, and then the circumstances around losing a few. Osaka going early. What's her name? I'm forgetting. Had the babies. Now she's back. She's still in. You mentioned her already. She was a champion. She's gone. She's going on to the third round.
Okay.
What's her name? Oh, big girl. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
What country?
American, isn't she?
Oh.
I can't remember.
Coco is the only American woman I mentioned.
Okay, then she must be, I don't know. But anyway, remember she left and had a baby and came back.
Okay.
And you mentioned her today, and she's still in the tournament. In any event, there's more of those people, like, names familiar, because some of these guys like Sinner and Sharev and all these guys are not as well known yet. They should be, because the shadow that was casted so large by the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic for years kind of forgot, like there was nobody else. Acted like tennis, there was no other players. There is other players. There's a bag load of really good ones. I like Wimbledon. Sometimes I like Wimbledon a little bit better than the U.S. Open. You know why? Because they have traditions. They don't go till 3 a.m. They have a day
You're up
up.
at 3 a.m, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying for other people, I got to respect that. Like sometimes even like, those times when the matches start at 9:45 at night and go 4 hours.
That's part of the draw of the U.S. Open, though. It's rowdy. It's late at night.
Okay, well then I guess that's the difference between Wimbledon, because they even have a day off. They have a curfew.
Yeah, you never see that at the U.S. Open.
Oh, never. Why? It's New York City. The city never sleeps. But anyways,
Queens, baby.
I think that we should mention an interesting point about family things is Andy Murray playing doubles with his brother.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Never liked Murray, but that's kind of cool.
I was never a big Murray guy. But then when that family shit gets kind of together, I think it's kind of cool. They're on to the second round. So, and England, of course, England's losing their mind over this, because what else they got to lose their mind over? We'll talk about that.
Yeah. A little foreshadowing. Who do you like to go to the final?
So that means that Sinner and Alcaraz got to meet in the semifinals?
Yeah.
That's why Wimbledon sets it up, because they still want that Djokovic thing. I think Djokovic is going to get upset.
I think so too. I think Zverev's going to the final.
Okay, that's what I'll say too. So we're going to get another Zverev Sinner final, maybe?
Maybe Zverev Alcaraz.
Zverev Alcaraz.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, I'll take those 3. Maybe next week it won't be over yet, so we'll have a little bit more defined situation. So I'm going to sit in the fence. I love Alcaraz. I just can't believe, like, this time last year how much press he got, and this year he's hardly getting nothing. Is he a prima donna? Is there something behind the cameras we don't know about?
I mean, who knows?
That's true. He is Spanish. Okay.
Zverev? He's German.
No. That's what his.
Oh, Alcaraz, you're saying?
Yeah, Spanish.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him having like an attitude or anything.
That's
like
what I'm saying. But I'm surprised that he's like all the press that I've seen. I don't see enough press. I thought he'd be getting more. Because I'm up in the morning. I'm retired. I turn it on. Wimbledon this morning. Let's check it out. Bailey's Coffee in Wimbledon.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I like it. Who do you like in the final?
I'll take Zverev and screw it, Sinner.
You better. You better.
We'll move this along to one of our favorite segments here at The House That Happens, the Caitlyn Clark Report.
Can we just say one thing before we talk about any other stupid things about us? Caitlyn Clark has more double-doubles in her season, assists and points, than anybody else ever has. With that being said, Angel Reese just went on a record of 11 games in a row with a double-double.
Also leads the league in rebounds.
And leads the league in rebounds. So, since we're talking about best of friends here, they're both got selected to the All-Star game.
Yeah, they'll be teammates for the first time in their career at the WNBA All-Star game in 3 weeks, I believe.
Oh, gee, you don't think that's going to get attendance? Okay, so let's
obviously now.
Okay, so let's just talk about, before we get to the rest of the league,
have you heard about the All-Star voting? So last year, Asia Wilson was the top vote getter at like 75,000, and now like the Caitlyn Clark, who led the voting this year, got like
a mil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I don't know if it was a mil, but it was like 500,000 or something.
It was like an astronomical number never seen in the history of the WNBA. Okay, that's my point. Let's not cover up the fact that what Caitlyn Clark is doing. She had the 5th highest attendance game already in her rookie year just the other night. 5th highest attendance game in the history of the league. She's played 20 games so far? So five of her games have been the highest attended games in the history of the WNBA. Girls, come on. And here's what's really weird about it all. All we talk about is the Sky and the Fever fighting over a playoff spot on 2 chicks that we don't even know what their situation is. And by the way...
What do you mean they don't know what their situation is?
Obviously, we got too much press about gender, color. I don't even want to talk about that. That's what I'm saying. Let's get that out of the way. Let's ignore the report, because I hope underground there, the NBA is now doing a special investigation on the flagrant and all that stuff. So let's get away from that for a second, because if we take in the positives, what Caitlyn Clark has brought to the league is amazing. So and Angel Reese is holding her end of the deal from a player perspective.
Of course.
Performance perspective. Don't say they're Larry Bird and
Magic Johnson.
Not quite yet. Because first of all, here's what drives me absolutely insane. We got the New York, Connecticut, Minnesota, and Seattle. They're the class of the league, with Vegas coming right up their asses. Why aren't we talking about
You mentioned Minnesota too?
Minnesota, the Lynx, yeah.
Oh, it's Minnesota, Seattle, New York, Connecticut, Vegas.
And Vegas has injuries, but everyone's coming back, so their record is going up.
And Asia Wilson potentially having the greatest season in WNBA history, which is really the lead getting buried here.
Did you see what my note says right here? Is Asia Wilson the best player in the WNBA?
Right now, 100%.
27 points leading the league. 11 rebounds a game. Second in the league. First in blocks. What place is her team in?
They are 3rd in the West.
And rising. She's the best player in the league. So
5-game win streak for Vegas.
There you go. And let's take a little bit further. The number 1 team in the league, New York, isn't it?
New York Liberty, correct.
We're not talking about Brianna Stewart. You see her numbers.
Who's probably the second best player in the
league. We're not talking about Kelsey Plum.
No.
18 points a game, and on a team that's in one of those significant playoff teams. Oh, and we're going to really talk about it. Diana Taurasi is still scoring 18 a night. Taurasi is still scoring 18 a night. So the weird juxtaposition for me is I'm really glad that Caitlyn's bringing all the positive parts into the game. But let's look about the performances on the field. We got some girls doing some badassery out there. Let's talk about Asia Wilson is unbelievable. I watched a game with her the other night. This chick is like, I don't know. I couldn't explain her to a guy thing because she's only her own player. I want her on my team yesterday. Mm-hmm. Is she not the best player in the NBA or WNBA?
100%.
Thank you very much. With all due respect to Caitlyn and Angel, you ain't in her league yet. Come on. And you know what? So I'm hopefully by after the All-Star break, the momentum will shift and they'll actually talk about the excellent competition that's going on in the NBA between those upper tier teams.
I would love to see that, but I'm a little skeptical personally.
So am I. That's the way the world works.
All hype. Which is a big story from that ESPN 30 for 30 about the Heisman Trophy. How much is based on hype, right?
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing going on. Did we the hype thing? Did we discuss last week? Travis Kelce's performance.
Where in the bedroom with Taylor Swift? Like, what are we talking about?
Oh, stop it! Anyways, that's not nice. I just want to say that when we're talking about hype. Travis Kelce went out on stage and did a little old-fashioned chivalry thing, like to help carry Taylor Swift to the place where she's come because she's
Oh,
obsessive
that's weird,
with
man.
it. But it was cheesy. It was cheesy, okay? If you go online and see it, it's kind of cheesy. But it's an old school chivalry move, like something you'd see in like Gone with the Wind days, that kind of shit. It was like played up like that.
Bringing in Miss Scarlet.
Whatever the case may be. But that's the epitome of a hype, don't you think? That's the only reason I want to bring it up. But I thought it was kind of cool. Chivalry for men is not dead. And if you had to do it in a cheesy environment to sometimes prove that we're still going on, I think it's a good thing.
Well, chivalry is kind of dead.
I'm hoping it's not. I'm bringing it back.
Well, blame the feminists.
Oh, I didn't say that, okay? I didn't say that.
I said it.
I didn't say that. That's good. We got an evolution going on in this show here. Regardless, one of the other things that just before we leave that is that we are talking about competition on here, and we're talking about who does what. Let's not forget the fact that Caitlyn Clark handles the ball probably more than anybody in the league.
Third in assists.
Third in assists.
Number one turnovers.
Number one in turnovers. So I think it's going to be interesting in the All-Star game how they communicate, how it's going to go, bring more eyes to the table. And that's enough talk about the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? I
think so, which will lead us into our weekly checkup into our two summer teams here in Toronto. First of which, Toronto FC. It's been a rough week, to put it mildly. A loss at Atlanta this past weekend, 2-1. They lost last night 2-1 versus Orlando at home, and they got a game Saturday at Columbus. Another team that we're fighting for a playoff spot with.
And we're now points out of the playoffs. We were inside the playoff line. Now we're out, aren't we?
Yes. Well, we're still in the same place last week. We're in that 8th seed, but nothing guaranteed there. You got to play that play-in game.
Can you tell me what's a seniors roster in MLS?
Seniors roster?
Good. You don't know what it means either, right? Okay.
No idea.
I'm going to try to figure it out because that made no sense to me. However, I was looking at the things, and do you know that guy, Bernadeschi?
Bernadeschi, yes.
I feel sorry for this guy. Yeah, I really do. I was watching some of the games. I was looking at his numbers. There's about 3 guys on the team that are playing their asses off. The other guys, I don't even know what the hell they're doing. And
he's pulling his weight.
Oh, big time. So it must be a drag to be a guy like him, seeing the BMO crowds, probably getting a good word on the street. And the team sucks. Well, their performance sucked. Okay.
No, I'll flat out say they suck.
Oh, it's awful. I'm really, I'm feeling everything this summer. I'm starting to feel this way because we're going to get to our next team next. But Toronto sports summer is starting to look a little haggard.
Yeah.
Torn and frayed. Old pair of shoes you should throw out? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The Toronto FC is not helping their cause.
No.
You know what I mean? And they had another good crowd the other night.
Of course they did. The TFC, the crowds are always loyal. Always.
You know what? And that's what drives me crazy about sports. Like, I'm saying it's the management here. Like, they got to, what I think they should do, my opinion, pull the whole team back, call the season out, buy out who you got to, and bring up your prospects and restructure, because some of these guys are just here for a paycheck. They play for a paycheck.
By the way, Toronto FC 5-game losing streak.
End of story. Killing their fan base. Well, they do that well in Toronto, but that's another story.
Especially TFC.
There you go. So let's just move into the other operation that works its way out of BMO Field.
Yes, we will be moving on to the Toronto Argonauts, who are also coming off a loss, this time against their rivals from Montreal, the Alouettes. They lost 30-20 at BMO. And tonight we'll be playing the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 9 p.m. That could be a big test here against our leaky defense, or you had a better way of putting it, I think.
There's a hole in the bottom of the bucket.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm really afraid now that this is going to be an exposure to Toronto, because you've seen them, they were fighting, and Serge and the crew, who posted on the site during the game, that Toronto defense is coming up big. I was like, end of the first quarter? Serge, stop it. In any event, the Alouettes just look like they're the better team. I'm not going to blame this Cameron kid that's the quarterback.
Cameron Dukes.
He's playing his ass off. He's got what? He's got a bunch. I think he's got working on 300 yards plus a game. They got that running back guy, Kerry DeBreeze, whatever. He's over 100 yards of offensive in a game. They got a good old line. I question some of the times they go on third down for a momentum change, because they kind of got a faux pas in the Montreal game. But by the time you got to the middle of the third quarter, you could obviously see that the Alouettes were the superior team and why they're the defending Grey Cup championships. Maybe
why they beat us at home last year.
There
in the
you
playoffs.
go, like a beating. I hate to say it to Argo fans, Saskatchewan's one of the freaking pillars of the league. Last time I checked, they're 3-0.
Yeah, but they haven't really been tested yet, have they?
They played somebody.
They played Hamilton twice and they played Edmonton once.
Okay,
all teams with a combined 0 wins.
Okay, but I'll give them the Hamilton. But they've won.
I'm cautiously optimistic about this one tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm saying a 15-point loss, and I hope the Argos are winning.
I'm calling an Argos win.
Okay, that's a beer?
Sure.
Give me. So I got to give you points, right?
Nah, we'll just do straight up. It's fine.
That's going to be free beer. I like that. I hope I'm buying the beer.
Okay.
We get. I'm in Shoey's, man. The home of the Argos. I don't want to say down. I'm just a realist.
The house of the Argos.
The house of the Argos. I'm just being a realist. I've seen the Argos play their first 2 games. I've seen their defense. Saskatchewan's got a modicum of offense. Could be an issue.
Could be an issue, but again.
Good luck, Argos.
Good luck, Argos.
As soon as I get out of here, I'll be watching the game.
Absolutely. We'll move this over to the NBA, where one thing that's got my attention is Andrew Wiggins will not be with Team Canada because the Golden State Warriors are all of a sudden playing hardball with him. Okay,
there's a couple things going on I've researched since you've been talking. There's a very hot stove take that guy, Laura Markkanen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a big talk that he's going to be traded, and Golden State is in on this. They're on the table. Like, they got a huge offer.
Although Buddy Hield is going to Golden State.
They want one more. Okay, so the bottom line is Higgins part of that trade?
Wiggins,
yeah. I'm not sure. Is there on the table? Because there's 2 things that we can say as Canadians. First of all, those bastards are making our team weaker, number 1. And obviously there's something going on in Golden State, as I told you off the air yesterday. The general manager is now on NBA Today. He bailed out.
The former GM, yeah.
The former GM. He parachuted out, gave Dre his money, and left town. So
smart move.
I'm not saying it's not, because the next factor we got to look at is not only is Golden State playing hardball with our Canadian national team, they let one of the Splash Brothers leave town.
Indeed, they did. Klay Thomas, rather, is going to be a Dallas Maverick this season. And I got to say, I love this move for Dallas.
Kind of, sort of.
They needed a 3-point shooter, and they got a guy who could just spot up and shoot it.
But you know what I mean? He's going to have to maintain a modicum of his past self.
I agree. It doesn't have to be a 40% shooter, but even if he's like a 35% guy, I think you can work with that, and that's going to be great in that system.
And I hope that he still plays his defense, because he's not the defensive player he used to be, but he can still play a defense. It's one of the things that is hurting, especially perimeter defense on Dallas. So he should be able to help on 2 ways there. I heard a little thing that Draymond Green said he was feeling bad about it because he called everybody last year because he almost went to Memphis, and now it's such a sorry thing that he's salty about how this has went on. I got to the salty part and moved on and said, yeah, okay, Draymond, whatever you want to believe. I thought what was more telling was the shout-out that Curry gave to Klay Thomas was absolutely amazing. You could feel the closeness, what he's going to miss, and Splash Brothers forever. It was really, really, really cool. Big shout-out to Steph Curry for having that much class.
Absolutely. Well, we knew Curry was a classy guy.
Oh, yeah.
Some other big moves, DeJounte Murray heading from Atlanta to New Orleans. They got themselves a good point guard. Paul George headed to Philadelphia.
Okay, let's just put it this way. Paul George is officially now a whore. Now that we're using terms that...
Why is that?
Okay, it was Indiana. He was supposed to be Mr. Playoff. I could play here my whole life.
Oh, he was Mr. Playoffs until the injuries.
Okay, so then there we go. Okay, so now the guy says, I better join my buddy in Kawhi because we're going to win multiple championships playing together. OG.
One conference final.
OG. And what does he do? Out the back door in Baltimore.
But to be fair, we've talked about this before. There might not have been enough money for him, considering that they want to re-up Kawhi.
I heard there was. That Ballmer was gonna try to work it out. He just.
Didn't the cap just get harder this year?
Well, Ballmer said he would pay the luxury tax. That's the big thing. Are you willing to pay the tax? The tax is insane, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's almost dollar for dollar now. What you have to pay. The NBA tax is insane. But it's interesting. The reason I'm saying that is that there's no. I'm not saying there's not. Yeah, what I am saying is, what about loyalty? Do we just have to chase rings? What does that say to the younger players in the league? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's getting to a place where it's like club soccer, basically. Because club soccer, I can't keep up with. Like, I'm not as deep into like whatever EPL and City as I was like a few years ago. But like, I can't keep up with who's on whose team now in European soccer. It's insane.
And it's going to get to that. You know what I mean? Like, what I don't understand is that you got to build a foundation. Okay, so the one free agent signing that I did think was very interesting was the fact that OKC picked up Hartenson from the Mets.
Yes.
He got a good
Mets. Knicks, you mean?
I mean the Knicks. Yeah. What am I saying? The guy got a good paycheck. I think he got about $15 million a year.
Yeah, Chet can move over to power forward now.
You got it. When at that time it's going to be. The funny part is, if you don't think that dressing rooms are a little bit funny, did you hear what Josh Hart had to say to Hartenson when he signed the contract?
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Glad you got your bag, but I never liked you anyway. Good riddance. Get out of here. It was like that harsh. And I said, "Ooh, no. How's that working in the dressing room for the whole season when this guy just come out and say, I don't like this guy. Get him out of here." Whew.
Who knows why, but...
Who knows why, but I mean, sometimes that's a little bit... That's that soundbite stuff I tell you about. You know, do we really need that? All it does is put in our head what's going on in that dressing room.
Well, it's the player that wanted to put that out there, so that's on him.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So
he just volunteered that information.
And he was just recently a guest on the NBA Today, like on the pregame show and stuff like that. He's well-spoken, so maybe he's trying to build a Josh Hart brand.
Maybe.
Well, I'm not really sure.
I thought the Knicks got a little bit better, too, with the Mikal Bridges move.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that made it stronger. The thing is now is Philadelphia having a guy like George who can play defense and spot up with Embiid and Maxey being re-signed. Whew. And
it should be very interesting.
And they always got Nick Nurse, who is still one of the most creative coaches in the NBA. He must be smiling a bit like Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, but, I mean, health is going to be an issue like Philly. Surprise, surprise, especially with Embiid and George, so...
One of the other free agent signings that caught me off guard, and I don't understand this one completely, is why Memphis let Jonas Valanciunas go. But I heard they're not a big money team, so they had some salary cap issues. I think that because I thought Memphis would come storming back this year because they had the injuries. This guy got hurt, the John Morant situation, blah, blah, blah. And but I thought Valanciunas was a key component in the center for them. I think this makes their team a little bit weaker.
Potentially.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And I love Valanciunas. I thought, you know me, I've ranted about that a million times why I should never left Toronto. But the bottom line is I caught that one. I thought that one was a little, like, really? Did Memphis want to get rid of him? I thought another one that they were smart is that Indianapolis got Obi Toppin from New York.
Obi Toppin,
who probably Josh Hart wanted to stay.
Well, he was there in Indiana last year, though.
Yeah, they signed him at the deadline, but they extended his contract because he fit the team.
Sure. Yeah, he looked very good in Indiana.
Yeah, he did. So when you fit with that Pascal, buddy, that's the guard. Indiana. Halliburton, they seem to have... They tightened up. Like they took a shot. They're playing for now.
Well, Indiana is a very interesting team because they made the in-season tournament final. They went to the conference final.
There you go. They tightened up. I thought it was a very good move for them. What's the other one that I thought was kind
Tobias Harris to Detroit? Back to Detroit, I should say.
He's a kind of a hometown guy or whatever the case is. He must have went there for the money because at this late in his career, he's never got a ring. What, do you think he's going to get one from the Pistons?
Not anytime soon.
Well, maybe at the end of this contract because they re-signed Cade Cunningham and that crew. Detroit, and I love the Pistons still, but they're like
there's work to do.
Yeah, and a veteran of that stature going to a team like that caught me off guard. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like that's got to be a money grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what they're saying? But however, one of the things you got to realize, though, when you talk about like this Jonas going to Washington, whatever, remember they got a couple of those French kids coming in. So sometimes when you're building a team, you got to put a guy in there with a little bit of maybe it's going to help the team in the dressing room. Maybe Tobias will be that kind of guy in the dressing room for Detroit. That's kind of what I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the idea.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe there's going to be some plus there, but I don't know. It just makes me weird. The other thing that we should be talking about in free agents because it's so in our face and it's a bit of a soap opera is Bronny James just got a guaranteed contract.
Of course.
Okay. So LeBron just extended himself to a personal contract that's all convenient for him, which he should be allowed to in his career.
Which probably puts the axe in DeRozan coming to the Lakers.
Oh, gee, you stepped on my toes because I'm going, that's one thing. Like, you know what? I think DeRozan's not signing He hasn't been signed yet. Not that he's not wanted. He's looking for his best shot, or he's looking for L.A. I think the L.A. door is closed because, remember...
Agreed.
That the Lakers, LeBron says, well, I can make my contract so I can make it team-friendly. He took the max. How do you make it team-friendly? Come on. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that many years to go, so he just added another $100 million to the coffer. But do you want to win, LeBron, one more with that roster?
Yeah,
they'll be struggling to make the playoffs. If you looked on paper right today, where's the Los Angeles Lakers in context of the league?
Well, especially in the Western Conference, it's going to be a tough one.
Especially in the Western Conference. But I think there's going to be a lot more movement because there's still a bunch of free trades out there, and they just did that Buddy Hield weird sign and trade, the 3-team.
Yeah.
And DeRozan's still out there. Gary Trent Jr., of all people, is getting a little nudge, wink, wink, which surprised me. So that tells me, Raptors, like, don't be outbid for him. We could still use him. You know what I mean? We know what we got. We're going to bring somebody else in. We don't know who we got.
Well, he's, a restricted free agent?
No, he's...
Oh, he's a UFA? He's UFA, yeah.
He can do whatever he wants. So is that saying the Raptors don't want him? I think what happened here is one of those situations where the Raptors were just going to see what the market says, and then they'll decide. Because the word around the campfire is that they're not... It's not a... There's no tension between Gary Trent and the Raptors right now. It's all business.
Right.
So whatever way it goes, it's going to be business decisions, and both sides understand that. However, if the contract out there, say he's offered, because he's not going to be offered more than about 8 or 9 a year.
Yeah.
I can't see that. So if it comes down to $1 million or $500,000, I think he would stay in Toronto unless he gets signs with Dallas or Miami.
A contender.
No, place that with taxes.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, you know what I mean? But so I think that the Raptors should take a look. I'm not like Gary Trent's been up and down, but we know what we got with the guy. You know, he's a good team guy. He likes Toronto. He can score some points some night. You know what I mean? He can be a good rotation guy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's definitely not a starter though.
No, not good rotation guy. What's Obi Toppin? He's just a good rotation guy.
There you
go. So we'll take the same thing. Go ahead.
Big news of the week, though. Jason Tatum signing the biggest contract in league history. The average annual value is higher than the entire payroll of the Anaheim Ducks franchise.
That's insane. That's insane. But did you break down his contract?
It's averaging $62 million a year for the next 5 years.
Okay, out of the $62 million, $28 million. No.
Or I believe it kicks in next year, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when he starts getting this contract, what is it? It's
54.1. Then by the time you get to year 5, it's 71.446.
Okay, so when you get around the $60 million mark, when you take away taxes, agents, annuities, he ends up with $28 million. $60 million, so you only get a little less than half of that? Wow, taxation in America is crazy in some states, but don't you think that's a little bit harsh? I'd take $28 million to drop a hat. Let's get something straight here. But you hear $60 million. What's he putting in his pocket? $28 million still, whatever the
Plus
case
endorsements.
Oh, yeah, and the endorsements. But I thought that was interesting. He said that if he had the same contract in Miami or Texas, he would bring home 40-something of the 60. That's the difference. It's insane.
The price of winning, I guess. But Derek White also signing a 3+1 extension. That one is a player option in year 4. Won't kick in until next season. But Boston keeping that core together.
And not only that, they see what the other teams are trying to adjust in the East. And nobody's made, except for Philly, I don't think anybody has made significant enough improvements to say
the Knicks with Bridges, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Well, and a full, healthy team. But, I mean, those are the 3 teams, the Knicks, Philly, and Boston. But I see at this point on paper, I'm still saying Boston's a stronger team. And now that they won the championship and they know how to win, you know what I mean? The cohesiveness of the unit, blah, 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 blah. I'm saying that at the beginning of the season, they're going to be considered, they will be the first to repeat in, 8 years?
That they would be that. But, I mean,
I hope
it's going to be a long season.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't, but...
A lot of interesting teams out of the West, so I got my eye on that.
Well, that's the way it's always going to be, and that's why Boston will stay on the top. You know what? We won't know until they get into the season started. But San Antonio, surprisingly enough, are in on a couple of these players too. Like
of course. Chris Paul going to San Antonio as well.
Well, that's a mentor thing, anyways, which they'll use. They'll be like assistant coach to Greg Popovich. In any event, it should be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that sometimes the salaries are going to collapse. I can't see this exceeding, like they say, when we're going to get an $80 million player. I don't think we'll get that in my lifetime because...
Well, you're 5 for Tatum, 71, so...
Well, it's going to be rough. Like the financial situation, like how much of the TV contracts are going to be big enough to sustain that? I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, you're in Boston, a big market. I can understand that, but for the other teams to compete on this level, we're going to have to wait and see.
Gonna have to wait and see. Anything else for NBA?
No, that's good enough. We talked enough about those overpriced prima donnas. You know what I mean?
So we'll have to move this along to the other big offseason news where, there's a lot to talk about. There's, obviously the death of Cap Friendly. Tomorrow is going to be the last day. We have our first female behind the bench of an NHL team, but what's the main story in Toronto?
The Toronto Maple Leaf report!
Oh, well, what's the big story, though, that's grinding my gears clearly? Should we strip Tavares of the sea?
You're killing me.
Ugh.
It's Toronto, I'm telling you. I got to tell a beautiful story.
Why is this a story in July?
Because we're Toronto.
Oh, God.
And they're already getting the sweetheart deal for next year. So he'll take it off, and I can still play here. I don't have to be captain. I'll play for $6 million. Come on.
I don't get why the media is weighing in on this, and I really hope that this media, I don't know what we can call it, pressure or what, is what ends up making the decision in Toronto. Because, if you feel that Matthews is the leader of that dressing room, great, give him the C. Fine. But if it's because of media pressure, then this is just stupid.
That's the problem with Toronto. The media pressure here is insane. You know what I mean?
Oh, but that's the fans' fault if you ask people in the media.
Oh, there you go. So who is it? Does the fans fuel the media or the media fueling the fans?
I think it's the media fueling the fans.
It's a little bit both. But you can't go anywhere talking about, like I said, as a baseball game last night, we were talking all about the Leafs.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't go away. I think the Tavares thing's off the charts, but I want to give a shout out to my next door neighbor. Her name is Sylvie, and she has a relatively recent romance in a young Italian guy by the name of Daniel. And we were talking about sports, that are guys of sports, and he was very happy that he went into, I think it was, what grocery store, and he had a conversation with Mitch Marner.
Oh, wow.
And the people that were there were generally saying that they were giving Mitch the don't leave town. I thought that was amazing, including him. But apparently she said, she's not a sports person, but she was so excited to tell me all about it. I said, when I see him, I'm going to ask him exactly, was he happy? Oh, he was very happy. He was saying good things about him playing in Toronto. I said, you don't know the whole story. So what he's basically saying is, you don't have to leave town. Because no matter what you're saying, and I'm going to say this again, hey, Toronto, who are you going to replace him with?
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But either way, it's what, July 4th now? You would have thought that the trade would have come by now.
I don't think there's going to be a trade.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's going to be, they're going to take the chances.
We all heard the rumored trade list.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
and the only teams there that were really, I could really see any fits there were Vegas and Chicago. With Dallas and Nashville, I think it would have been too tough to make a trade.
Yeah.
I don't think there was the pieces either way, but...
Nashville was a lie. Was it Ryan O'Reilly opened up his mouth, the ex-Leaf guy? But he went to management and said, sign him and all this stuff here. The bottom line is this. I'm going to say this again, and people are going to think I'm nuts, okay? This is how close it was for Marner. Go back to that series and say who was playing better, Pasternak or Marner? Neither.
Oh, come on, it was Pasternak.
Who am I missing? Was it the other winger? Was it Pasternak? Did he score the goal in overtime?
He did.
Okay, that's the only thing he did in that series. He had a few assists in a big blowout game. Marner did. He had a 4-assist game in a loss too, or a 3-assist game in a loss too. So what if Marner scores that goal in overtime?
But he didn't.
Okay. So that's what my point being. It's a fine line. Because if Marner had to score that goal, they've been running Pasternak out of town in Boston. So it's a tough world we live in, especially the media fueling the fans or the fans fueling the media.
But I'm not buying that argument.
Really?
No.
I'm just saying that Mitch Marner should stay in Toronto. You know what I mean? Come on, people. Don't you love the guy? 100-point player.
I feel he will stay in
contender,
Toronto.
Great penalty killer. Should have been the top 6 called players for Canada. Oh, we'll get to that later.
I think you have a thing or two to say about that.
And one more thing. Samsonov got a job.
Yeah, with the Vegas Golden Knights.
So
1.8 million against the cap.
All that Toronto stuff, I couldn't throw that in there. But now that we've had our Toronto conversation, we can move on to the...
Well, a few more things I want to say. So Austin Matthews was left off First and second All-Star team. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Tough vote, though. Who do you...
Although I think they should change the voting for those instead of having, like, why does there have to be a center, a left winger, and a right? Just have it like the 3 best forwards for each line, right?
So we're going NBA style?
Well, they already do the all-rookie team like that.
Okay, I don't know. That's the history of hockey. Why should we change it?
Yeah, but like usually,
only because you're a Toronto guy and you're going, oh,
no,
look at Matthew
but
got
like
pushed out.
you look at the vote, like the left winger is always like, one of these guys is not like the other.
Okay. Okay, I looked at the 2 All-Star teams and looked at left wingers and went, okay.
It's usually like that. Really.
Okay, that's what I did. But that's not the point. They deserve to be there because they're playing left wing. I'm just saying that Matthews got caught up in a anomaly in personal...
in a firestorm.
You got it. Like, I don't think we'll see... I hope we do because it's better for hockey, but I don't think we're going to see that echelon of player. Like, all 4 of those guys could have been MVP.
I would say there's maybe close to 10 guys this year that had a legitimate claim for the Hart Trophy.
Including Hellebuck.
Exactly. You know Quinn Hughes on that list as well.
There you go. But to be left off, none of those guys missed All-Star teams, though.
No.
So I'm wondering, did he lose any money on incentives?
NHL, it's not like the NBA like that.
No?
No.
Or like NFL, so if you get called in, you get extra bucks?
No, it's not like that for hockey.
Okay, that's good. But anyways, to me, Austin Matthews is probably the 3rd best player in the league. Top 5 for sure.
Agreed.
Doesn't even get on an All-Star team. That's just the way it goes.
If he's off your top 4, I'm gonna question your state of mind.
Yeah. You're not watching the game. That's it. Purest goal scorer in the league, in the world.
Yep.
In the world. So let's cut to the chase on that. Just interesting that these are all the good things that make Caravana go around and the Danforth. What is it?
Taste of Danforth.
Taste of the Danforth. That makes all that. That's Toronto. Got to have it that way. We had no talk about Toronto in July. I think I'm in the wrong damn city. John Tavares, how you doing, man? You don't need to see. You just got to play for $5-6 million next year, and you can play for Toronto the rest of your life. Simple.
I'd take him for 7 even.
Okay, that's coming. That's coming. The only reason that Stamkos didn't come to Toronto, let's cut to the chase. The number one thing that shocked us about free agency, how the whole Stamkos Tampa Bay thing broke down. There's a lot of talk on both sides. I thought Stamkos was very diplomatic.
Oh, well, Stamkos is one of the classiest guys in the league. And he was honest about it, too, about, like, how emotional this was for him, basically. Like, he was Mr. Lightning, basically. He was number 1 in their all-time points, number 1 in the all-time goals. He was getting close to San Luis for all-time assists for the Lightning, too. I think he was only, like, 5 or 6 off, which is insane. And,
there's a big pushback from the Tampa Bay media.
Oh, as there should be. We heard about the 8-year by $3 million deal that they offered him? That's bullshit.
No kidding.
That's a slap in the face to your captain.
I know.
Your best player all time, and you give him that low ball deal.
He had to go.
If I was Stamkos, I would have told Breezewell to fuck off.
Oh. You think he would have stayed for 6?
Maybe like a 6x6 or something.
But he got 8.
8 for 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, you can't say no to that.
No.
In another state that doesn't know big state taxes. Like, he knew what he was doing. He says, I'm just going to move my money over here, and I'm still going to be doing it because there was, like I always said, what, come on home, Stamkos, but you realized the money was way too high for Toronto. But
yeah, they couldn't fit it under the cap.
Even though he'd want to come here and all the taxes and all that kind of stuff here, but
maybe in 4 years.
Yeah, okay, yeah, when he's 38. Toronto,
sounds like the Leaf thing to do.
And then they'll be on the cusp of winning a cup, and he'll come in during the trade deadline.
Nah,
I don't think so either. In any event, I've always liked Steve Stamkos a lot myself. So I think it must be very trying for a player to be in his position, family, been there how many years?
Since 2008. So was that 16 years?
Long, wow. Yeah.
Wow. It was put that way.
There you go. So the big question is, from a year from now, are we going to be talking about Sid like this?
Ooh. Yeah, well, Pittsburgh has their own problems, but
okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
I want to take it back to Nashville. So we're going to say Nashville. They won free agency.
Yes, they did.
Stamkos, Marcia Show, and the defenseman, too, Brady Shea.
Yes. What a squad. And Brady Shea is the type of defenseman you want in the playoffs.
Absolutely. He can be on your second pair. He's probably going to get some power play time, too.
Yeah, but he'll probably get more penalty killing time because of his defensive prowess.
Second power play time. But still, you need a guy that can run that show.
Oh, 100%. No, I think they did it well. And not only that, they got, what's his name, Saro Sagoli.
Locked up for 8 years.
And a decent money.
Was 7.5 he's getting?
Yeah, something like that.
That's a steal.
That's what I'm saying.
Steal.
Yeah, so
a lot less than Shesterkin's going to get in New York.
Oh, Shesterkin could break the bank. He could hurt their whole cap structure. That's going to be dangerous out there. However, since we're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, I didn't. I mean, you got to get back to
I
Toronto.
thought we're talking about Nashville.
We are, but I just forgot to put in there. You made a very good observation as a general manager when you said, "I'm only going to pay my goalies this."
That wasn't so much an observation, so much as like my my rule set for GMs.
And what did Toronto pay their 2 goalies? What's his name they brought in?
Buddy there, we got him from
Stolars, yeah.
We're paying him what, 2.5?
Less, I think.
I think it's 2.5. Let me double check that. But yeah, and then we got Joseph Wall, who's like cap it's like what, 800,000. Matt Murray's coming back and his cap it's like 800,000. So all 3 combined, their cap hits are like 4.1.
And even when the new contract kicks in next year, they won't go over 6.
Exactly.
If they keep the 2. So that's good management. But anyway.
Yeah, so Stolars is 2.5 cap hit.
Yep. So that's
and then next year, Wall and Stolars combined 6.166.
That's what I said. That's just where you want to be sitting.
And I called it too. Matt Murray coming back as our third goalie. I love that option.
Yeah.
I think he's the guy too that will be able to sneak on waivers too, just because he hasn't played in a while. He's not a given. So a lot of teams are probably like, oh.
Or maybe teams will just say, screw you, Toronto.
Well, that didn't happen last year.
Yeah, because the injury factor was too large.
What do you mean the injury factor?
What's this guy that came in, you guys?
Martin Jones?
Yeah, because remember he came in, he was coming off at the end of an injury from the other team, remember?
So is this guy. So is Matt Murray.
Okay, then you got a point.
I can't see. I really can't see another team picking Matt Murray off waivers.
No, I can't. Well, I don't know.
There's going to be other goalies. I think they're going to be better, especially if Detroit doesn't trade one of their guys.
Agreed. You know, another thing we should say, we didn't bring up either is the fact that sometimes when you get a signing and it's a hometown deal,
Max
Domi gave the Leafs a good deal.
Yeah, I was a little bit scared about what that number was going to look like, but 4 years, 3.75, perfect.
It's jokes that he was staying on there. And were you happy with the re-signing of your buddy Liljegren?
$3 million, I thought that was a good number. He could be a trade chip. I feel like that's where they're going to want to go with this.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. I thought it was a good. It was solid, and the fact that
he's a UFA at the end of the deal.
And we didn't bring up the fact that Toronto brought in 2 big freaking beasts to play on the back end of your D. 3, yeah, on your D.
Yeah, Toronto rebuilding the blue line. Chris Tanev, obviously the big shark, 6-year deal, 4.5 per. He's got a full no move clause, which kind of scares me about it. But by that time, he might be a little bit beat up anyways, so he might be an LTIR candidate.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, don't want that to happen. But
no, definitely not.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson signed a 4-year deal, 3.5 per. He has a modified no trade clause. No details confirmed yet, as if it's like a 10 team, whatever. I suspect it's probably like a 10 team no move or something.
I think it's a 15.
Oh,
from what I heard, that's what I heard. But did you hear him talk
about...
Or
16 team, no trade list. There we go.
Okay. In any event, did you hear him talking about how he won a Stanley Cup a week ago? Now you're packing up and going to another team. Did you hear him talking about it in his interview?
No, I did not.
It was very heartfelt. He goes, I just had an event in my life where I'm never going to forget everything I wanted to do as a kid, everything I wanted as a hockey player. I got it. I got a Stanley Cup championship. And he goes, I'm not even finished celebrating with brothers for the rest of my life. I got to think about getting a new house in Toronto.
Yep.
Wow. But he said that's the business of sports.
Yep.
And what are you going to do about it, right? You know?
Of course, you got to love Swedish defensemen coming to the Leafs.
Stop it.
It's their tradition. Yanni Hakanpää is obviously the other big one. He was injured at the end of the season for Dallas last year. Did not get a chance to come to the playoffs. Probably a big reason why they were rolling 5D for a lot of their run. But he's a big boy, a right-handed shot.
Didn't you tell people how big this boy is?
He is 6'5" every day of the week.
Twice on Sundays. The guy is big, and that's as we were talking about. And as the teams keep on moving, some people don't realize. I sometimes wonder, is Florida the template for the way you're going to make a team in the future? But before I get to that, look at the other teams.
You know what I'm going to say about that.
There you go. But if you look at the other teams and what they're doing, suddenly for some reason Pittsburgh picked up Aho, who's a solid.
Well, hold on. I got more to say about the Leafs, actually, especially their defense.
Okay.
So The one thing that kind of sucks is right off the hop, Simon Benoit, he's going to be the 7th man on D. I think that's going to change. I think by mid-November, he's going to be back to being a staple in the lineup. But
my favorite Toronto Maple Leaf?
Yeah.
They're going to make him a 7th defenseman? That won't last long.
Exactly. That's what we saw this at deadline, basically. And then what happened? Not even like 2 weeks later, he was right back, third pair, second pair, whatever it was.
And he's growing as a defenseman. That's the thing. He's not an old guy.
Nope. He's 25 years old. Still plenty of runway left. I'm wondering about how the pair is going to work out. I mean, Riley, Tanev, you think they're going to be the pair right away? I'm thinking second pair, Ekman, Larson, McCabe, maybe?
Possibly, but who's going to carry the puck out, McCabe?
Oh, that'll be Ekman Larson.
Okay.
He's got the hands.
Better hands.
I think he's got the long reach, too.
Oh, yeah.
McCabe could be the guy that clears the net. Although, actually, two righties, actually. So it might be Ekman, Larson, Hakanpää, and then McCabe, Liljegren.
That's probably, yeah. Yeah, it's going to have to work like that. Brody's no longer around.
No. He went to Chicago with half of the rest of the league, I should say.
Oh, I didn't understand that.
Well, I think I called it the day before, like to my brother and my mom, like, watch, Brody's gonna go to like Chicago or San Jose.
And bingo,
yeah.
Away he went. Yeah, I think it was very interesting what the Leafs did from the point of view that all we talked about last year was their defense. What were they lacking? Defensemen, guys that could hit, clearing in front of the net, all that basic hockey stuff, and they seem to have cleared that up. But the most important thing I think about the Leafs is it's all about Joseph Woll. To me, my opinion, because I think the number one thing they have to be concerned with is goaltending.
Well, Stolarz too, then, by extension.
Exactly. So let's just hope he plays as good as he says. He said in his interview, I'm one of the top 10 goalies in the league easily.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. Came right out and said, I can't wait to show the people in Toronto what I'm going to do. So the thing is about Woll is I think Woll will become your number one. No doubt about it. Knock wood on any bad luck, because I like the kid, and you've seen him play. He's a solid guy. He just hasn't had no luck on physicalities right now. So I don't think it's a gamble for Toronto. The money they got for him and the time there, if he plays up to his potential, that's going to be a steal of a contract in a couple of years. I'll worry about money down the road. So all in all, people in Toronto, don't be sad. Your team did a little bit of improving on paper anyway.
Hey, I mean, I still think we're behind Boston. We're behind Florida, but I mean, I'll take incremental steps over nothing.
So the thing okay, go ahead.
I was going to say also, Connor Dewar still has to sign his deal. He's an RFA. And then Nick Robertson saying he has no intentions to sign back with the Leafs. They'll be looking for a trade partner. Although
big mistake on Toronto's part. You heard it here first.
I was going to say, worst comes to, I don't think he's going to necessarily be traded.
I think that, you know what I heard? The best thing that
Trey Living's not going to trade him just because.
Oh, no,
I don't think he's going to pull it. I don't think that would be a Kyle Dubas move right there.
Okay, because guess what? We haven't seen Robertson's potential. I don't think maybe he was in Keefe's doghouse. We don't know what's going on.
I would love to see what Berube can do with him.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And you know that Struddy guy from Edmonton that's always talking?
Strudwick.
He made the greatest point I heard. He goes, if I was that guy's situation, I'd call up the coach and say, can we go for a beer? So you can look at the coach's eye and say, this is what I think I am. What do you think I am? Mm-hmm. And work from there. Don't go into training camp going, wonder what my job is. No, if you've already come out and said, and some people said he should have done that first, but we don't know how the guy is. I think he's being misused in Toronto.
We don't know the full situation. I mean, he kind of was from the beginning. They put him in right away into the playoffs. It was a bit of a weird situation.
I don't think they gave him enough chance. I can't wait until he's playing for Montreal.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say.
Or maybe with his brother in Dallas.
I just don't think the kid got enough chance. I like his game. He was scoring.
All 5-on-5 too, because he didn't get any power play time.
That's another one of his things, and a plus player. So he was a 5-on-5 scorer and a plus player. What do you want? And he's not weak defensively. He's a great skater. You know what I mean? So I don't know. When I heard that he wanted out of town, I kind of went, ooh, that's kind of weird.
I kind of saw that coming, but I'm, again, cautiously optimistic about that situation.
So before we go, and we're talking about people moving in and out of the top four, weird shit goes on, like Boston lets DeBrusque go.
Goes to Vancouver.
But they pick up Zadorov.
And Lindholm.
And Lindholm, yes. That's what I'm saying. So the thing that weirds me out is...
I thought Boston got a lot better this offseason, even though they gave up Allmark.
Yeah, well, they still got Buddy. So
and they got Korpisalo, who I think is going to be a very good backup for them.
Oh, I think so, too. No, I think they got better, too. When they were letting DeBrusque go, I said, good. Then when they come back with these pieces...
But DeBrusque's a good guy. Well, good in that way, I guess.
Good in what way?
No, that's good because you're a Habs fan.
Yes. Get him out of here. But look, they got two guys better. Are not necessarily better. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Elias Lindholm, that's a big hole that they fill at center. Then Zadorov, that's a big D.
Big, huge D.
Don't call him Big Z, though.
No, okay. In any event, you know what I'm saying? Like, they went this way and then they went that way, and I went, damn, I thought that, okay, good, DeBrusk's out of here.
And they pick up a first-round pick and a depth guy in the Allmark trade as well.
Oh, Boston got better. Smart management. I hate to say it.
Bottom line, I hate to say it, too.
DeBrusk left town a little salty.
Yeah, well, he'd been on the trade block for the past 5 years, it feels like.
So he let it all out when he left town. He wasn't high. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Although I thought people were making a good point where they're like, if he thought the Boston coaches are tough on him, what's he going to think about Rick Tocchet in Vancouver?
I think he could be a Tocchet guy. His style of play. I'm just basing it on his style of play.
You would have thought that in Boston, though, is my point.
Personality problems in the dressing room sounds like to
something.
Me. Well, and if you're going to tell a guy he's traded every day, after a while, it's got playing your nerves.
Well, he was asking for a trade, though, all that time.
Anyways.
So that's kind of on him.
I was glad that I liked the subtraction. I didn't like the addition. Is that how you're going to put it? Would sit the air. Another thing, if I can really, was I going to say, the Vegas guys, they're not stupid either. They let Logan Thompson go, Chandler Stevenson, right? And then they pick up a couple of guys that'll probably fit into that puzzle that Vegas uses every year. Nobody's got a safe job in Vegas, do they?
No, never do. They never do.
And that's just crafty management. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Logan Thomas could go on to be a number one goalie in this league. Let's put it that way. But Vegas is pretty solid in the net anyway. And they got additions for him too, so... When you think about it, like Vegas, I'm still saying, I was looking at the last 20 years of how the NHL has gone. The team will win a championship this year and come right back, or win a couple more down the road with the same core. When you look at the age and the structure of Vegas, I'm saying, you know what, their window's still wide open.
I still think there's some guys, even in their division, that are going to be better than them next season.
I'm going to be a wait and see on this. That's my situation.
Because they lost some guys. I think Chandler Stevenson and Marchessault, their defense is still as solid as ever.
Yeah.
They got the guy that got
big loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Chandler Stevenson, too. That's true, a big hole on their second line. They still got some guys, though.
Yeah.
I don't think they're quite the powerhouse that they were. I think it might take them a couple seasons to find that form again.
A word around the campfire is they've drafted a couple guys. They've left them down in the minors and developed. So we might have some new guys coming into their lineup just the same. Just like the Leafs guy. What's his name? The guy that played for the London Knights?
Easton Cowan.
Oh, hey, how come we haven't brought him up?
Well, I mean, what's there to say?
He could make the team.
He could.
Well,
they can send him back down to junior again, though, and he could be the captain of the Canadian junior team. It's all up to training camp. He might get the 9 games. I know a lot of people are thinking that, but I mean, that's talk for way in the future.
That's true, too. Same with Minton, if you want to speak. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I think that we should bring up when we're talking about this free agent frenzy day was probably the most chaotic one we've had in years. And as we talked about it off camera, one of the things that we were discussing is the big jump in the cap opened the floodgates.
$4.5 million.
Okay, now the word around the campfire is, as we talked about it, and I did a little research today, as they said, they could have the same jump next year.
I've heard that. Potentially a little bit more.
Maybe a little bit more. So what I'm saying is, now that the cap's going up, the playing field is still never going to be leveled when you talk about the tax situation, which we've discussed when you play in Texas, Florida, Nashville, or whatever it's going to be. So it's coming down to a point right now, when you look at the 4 major leagues in North American sports, the NHL salary cap is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. The NFL has ways to just scrap players because they don't have guaranteed contracts and stuff like that, and the way they manipulate it against the trade. I'm saying the only way to make the playing field maybe a little bit more level is maybe they shouldn't, when you cut a player, maybe they shouldn't put so much against your cap. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you made a mistake with the guy, or the guy got hurt, or it didn't work out, and then you got to cut him, and then you got to suffer for that. Every team in the league will say, yeah, well, I've had that situation before. But like I said to you, then are we giving the owners a way to get off the hook because they made a bad decision? Jack Campbell would be an example of that situation. I'm not sure, but I definitely think that something has to shake in the NHL about how they handle, like, releasing players and the guaranteed contracts, and how it's going to affect you when you do the buyouts. Like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out.
I don't either, but I think when the next CBA comes up, there's going to be some serious talk, especially from the top-end teams that are in the league, and especially Canadian teams, because on some levels financially, we can't compete. You know what I mean? Hence the reason why people are looking at Montreal a little bit differently. You know what I mean? We got a lot of kids locked up for a bunch of years.
On good cap hits, and not to mention Yuri Slavkovsky, who just signed a big deal.
Oh, did you feel me doing cartwheels down my street when I seen that, man?
Oh, I saw that. I'm like, you got to be happy about that.
Oh, I was absolutely flipping about it.
And on a lower cap hit than Suzuki and Caulfield, too.
Thank you very much. And he's how old?
He's what, 20?
20?
20.
Yeah, turning 21. I'm happy at that. They're also getting sweetheart deals for Aberjacki and Mayu.
Well, we'll see about that.
I think it's going to work out. I think they're going to.
I think Jack is going to be paid like a third pair defenseman, no matter what. Well, and Mayu's still a couple years away from being a free agent. So
there you go. That could work out for us, especially if they play well, because it doesn't really matter. But
you think Mayu's got a guaranteed spot on the Habs roster, though? I think they might season him another year in Laval.
Nope.
Really?
You heard it here first.
Wow.
You know why?
So whose job's he taking?
I don't know, because
you got Matheson, you got Savard, you got Harris, Hudson, Gooley, and Jack-Eye.
Okay.
I think that's your top six.
Can't we get rid of Matheson?
He's got 2 years left on his deal, sir.
Savard. I'd rather keep Savard than Matheson. And maybe Matheson will become trade bait. You know what I mean?
He's got a modified no trade clause, which makes things a little tougher, too.
Okay, he doesn't want to go to San Jose. So what? All right, I got you. Well, we'll figure it out.
I wouldn't even bother putting San Jose on my trade list if I was him, because I know I'm not going there.
In any event, I'm looking at it this way. We got 6 kids that can play defense. Let Savard be the mentor and let it go. If you say we're still 2 years away, I want these guys on the ice as much as possible to gain experience, high leverage situations, special teams, a whole 9 yards. This is like a whole training for us the next couple years, because all these guys are under 25. You see my guys that are they're 26, 27, and under 25. You know how many guys the Habs got? We're going to be one of the youngest teams in the year next year if we break camp this year, if we break camp properly. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going, Matheson, you've had your time, let's go. And we're just a year away. We still got to do it. The Galley, the good thing is about Buddy, that's our general manager, sorry, forget your name for a minute, is the fact that he's hiding in a weird way the bad hits that Anderson and Galley have against our cap. Because they're still playing over here, and we got all these good guys that are there. So it's some clever management. And we still got Galley for 2 years on the books too, don't we?
Gallagher and Anderson for 3 more years, including next season.
Wow.
Combined $12 million between the two.
That'll be their cap hit, right? Wow. It's a good time we got the raise this year, and we got the raise next year. It could get us over the hump. That's how I think they're playing the game in Montreal. I could be right, I could be wrong. But the stability of the core being signed for this long, including Montalban and Primo, who they've got control over.
Yep.
We've got a chance to be making more noise than people realize if we play up to our potential. And potential right now doesn't even get you $10 worth of gas in your car. No. So we'll have to worry about that when the time comes.
I think I like Montreal's defense. I think you guys still have questions up front and in goal, though.
No, I think our goaltending is going to be fine. Now that we don't have that, now that we don't have the 3, I don't like the 3 system. How much I bitch about that last year?
I know.
So let the guys.
I know. I still think Caitlyn Primo has a lot to prove. Montembeault is definitely your number 1 going into next season. I think he's
solid.
Yeah, exactly. Primo, though, I still have some question marks, and up front,
where are we going to score?
Yeah, if Christian Dvorak's your number 2 center still, I think you guys got problems.
I didn't want to go there, but I want to go one more point.
He's on the last year of his deal. That's the good thing.
Okay, so let's just go the one more thing.
Although another guy modified no trade clause.
We're too nice to these schmucks. You know what I mean? They're not that schmucks. They're a nice guy. But before we leave hockey, there's one other thing
I got a lot more to talk about hockey.
Okay, then we'll see.
Because I want to give at least one thought for all the teams.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. That'd be interesting. Washington, I hope you give a shout out to.
Oh, I was going to lead off. I'm just going to go by the cap hits here on Cap Friendly.
Oh, as we're saying goodbye.
Yeah. There you go. RIP tomorrow. Washington, wow. Maybe besides Nashville, maybe the best offseason. They added to their forwards
Yep.
with Mangiapane and Dubois. I know Dubois, people are a little dubious of Dubois, but I mean, they got a lot better at the center position.
Yep.
I think some of the older guys there can inspire them. Washington has had a history of kind of getting these first-round guys who have had their reputation tarnished and kind of turning them around. They got themselves a good second pair with Matt Roy from LA.
Yep. Good.
And they traded Nick Jensen a third to get Chikrin, which I thought was a major steal.
I thought it was steal of free agency. More I looked into it, steal.
Chikrin and Carlson, that could be a good top pair.
Oh, yeah.
And they add to their goaltending too, Logan Thompson.
That's the big steal right there. So, I mean, like right up the middle, they've done things to strengthen the team, and they did make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the way it's going, Washington could even be competing for a division title next season.
Oh, I'm not going that far. I don't know. I don't think they have 6 defensemen that can carry them that far, even though they picked up Roy and that, and they did a good job. I was very impressed with what Washington did. But I'm still saying, look, like they're in that division. Are they going to go over New York? Are they going to go over Jersey? Are they going to go over Carolina? Carolina surprised me; they didn't do enough. But continue.
Yeah, I think Carolina's going to take a little bit of a step back.
That's what I looked at that too. Continue though. Don't let me interrupt.
Vegas, we already kind of touched on. Edmonton, I thought another team just doing some tidy business. The Jeff Skinner signing I thought was fantastic. They lose Warren Fogle. They're $3 million over the cap. They still have to make a couple signings to Broberg and oh my God, there's another forward down the lineup that they have to sign.
So who are they going to release?
I have no idea. They were like over the cap this time last year too, and they somehow still. Ryan Holloway's the other forward they still have to sign.
I don't think they want to let him go.
They definitely won't.
No.
I don't know how they're going to work this. I'm no cap expert. I would love to be, but I'm not. A lot of people saying they're going to move Evander Kane. I don't see that happening given his full no move clause. But
Evander Kane is the number one suspect, they say.
He's not waiving his no trade.
No kidding.
No.
With that money?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Vancouver, another team with a great offseason, managing to hold on to Dakota Joshua and Tyler Myers. Signed Derek Forbort. Hronik's got a big extension. They signed Jake DeBrusk, Danton Heinen.
Another Tocchet guy?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? The Western Conference, it's going to come down to Edmonton and Vancouver again. I'm calling it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I give the slightest of edges right now to Vancouver.
So you're not even going to give... Okay, continue, then I'll see what I'm going to say.
Toronto we touched on. Nashville we touched on. Florida, a little bit of a step back. Obviously, they lost Brandon Montour, but they signed Nate Schmidt, who I think is going to be a pretty good replacement, can help man that second power play. He just needs to be a good bottom 3 guy, you know?
Mantour is Mantour.
I get that, but there's no they still got Forsling and Ekblad.
Oh yeah, that won't hurt. But they also lost.
I think Nico Mikkola is going to be asked to step up in that lineup. I think he definitely can.
Okay.
They lose the goalie to Toronto. Spencer Knight, this might be finally his time to step up there.
Okay.
It's a $14.5 million tandem in net, but yeah, I think this could be Florida's last chance. I think they're going to be very motivated. Verhaeghe and Bennett are going to be free agents after this season.
What are they going to pay? They paid Reinhardt okay, though, didn't they?
Yes, he got an 8-year deal, full no move, 8.625 per.
And then after taxes, he got Nylander money.
Yeah, basically.
That's crazy.
And Lundell got paid too, 6-year deal, $5 million per.
Yes, I think that's a great signing.
Absolutely.
Personally, yeah.
Philadelphia.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Islanders. Did they do anything of note?
I think what they're doing, here's my perspective on them. They got some prospects coming up, and it took a while for Patrick to get the team together. I'm thinking that management's thinking Lamoriello, who's old school, say, okay, Patrick, we're going to start from the beginning, and let's see what you do with this same group of guys. But they did add a defenseman, didn't they?
Well, they added Duclair as well.
Yeah.
And Mike Riley. But I think this might be a situation where this team might have to take a step back before they take a step forward. I don't see them making the playoffs again this year.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I think Patrick will not allow that to happen.
With what guys?
We'll see. I've seen stranger.
I think the East is too strong. Again, I think that's a lot of the problem with Montreal too. Buffalo, Ottawa.
Oh yeah, no. That's going to be a battle to kick into those top 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all the people they got to battle underneath there, because East is top heavy.
Oh, for sure.
You know, let's not mistaken that. It's very top heavy. You know, you guys should be happy you're going to make the playoffs for the 10th year in a row or something. So shut up, Leaf fans.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
Okay, good. I wouldn't let you complain.
I'm not complaining.
Good.
Forget Minnesota. They got no cap space.
Nope. Are they going backwards still?
Minnesota?
I like them.
Well, they got this is their last year in cap hell after the Parise and Suter buyout.
Okay,
so next season they could start to move forward.
And those guys like I can't even say his name. That defenseman and a few other guys, and the young guys, they're going to be around for a while.
Oh, well, Kaprizov signed long term. I think Spurgeon's got a long deal too.
Yeah.
So
and who's in the net for them?
They have Fleury and they have a kid.
Yeah, they say Fleury one more year and the kid's developing. So good luck. Good luck to them.
Pittsburgh, another team that looks like they're taking a step back. They lose Jeff Carter to retirement. They signed Kevin Hayes, which I think that's going to turn to Jeff Carter 2.0 there.
Okay. When I seen that signing, I said, huh, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some signings you don't, like just trying to fill a roster.
They trade away Riley Smith. I mean, they got more back from them than they traded to get him, which fine, but I mean, that's still a guy they get filling your roster. They signed Matt Grzelcyk on defense, who, like, I think he's been exposed completely. Like, you saw him in that Toronto series. When you get beaten in the neutral zone by John Tavares, like, I love John Tavares.
I got you what you're saying.
He's not skating the compulsories, you know?
I'm thinking that he's not a significant upgrade. Is that the way to put it?
Grzelcyk?
Yeah, he's not.
I mean, for 2.75, that's,
I'd rather pay a prospect, but we're going to have to wait and see.
I really don't get what Pittsburgh's doing here. They look stagnant. They were not really.
Sid leave town. That's going to be all season. Will Sid leave town?
Sid leave town. I'm telling him to leave town.
Where's he going to go to? Straight to his favorite team when he grew up?
Colorado.
No, he's going to go to his favorite team when he grew up. Do you know what his favorite team was, right?
The Toronto Maple Leafs? No. Montreal has to show that they're competitive before Sid comes there.
We will show that. He could be the one that brings us over the top.
No, they have to show they're competitive before Sid comes to town.
So when we're the surprise team of the league this year and Sid looks over and goes, get me there in the trade deadline, I'm going to cause a miracle.
I love your optimism, but we'll leave it at that.
If Crosby ever got in Montreal, I would get a jersey in every color, and if he even had one of those screwed up, stupid, dumbass jerseys they make for the season, I'd get one of those too.
Collector's items.
Whatever they are. What are they going to do with those ones from last year? Stop it.
Who else do we got? We have the Ottawa Senators, who obviously they made a big upgrade in net, picking up Linus Ullmark. Paid a big price to get him. They're still retaining salary on Eunice Korpisalo to do it.
I don't understand that. For a team that's not, like, they're not cap heavy, but they don't have a zillion dollars to be throwing around.
They're up against it.
They blew our theory on how much you pay a goalie. Is Ullmark going to bring them that far ahead? Huh.
Yeah,
and what if he has a step back? How old's Ullmark now? 32?
He is 30.
30, okay. Still goalie prime time.
But they trade away Chikrin.
There
they
you go.
They got Jensen back, which, I mean, they're stacked already on the left side. They got Chabot and Sanderson, fine. But, I mean, you're still giving up a good D to get that done. They re-signed.
Does Tkachuk stay the whole season?
Tkachuk saved the whole season?
Is he going to stay the whole season?
Oh, is he going to stay?
Stay.
He's got 4 years left in his contract, so he's locked in.
So they wouldn't think about trading him if things go out the window?
No way. He's captain, too.
I think the new owner is going to be much better for that team than anything. Because remember,
100%.
he took over, you know what I mean? He'll pull more reins. Because remember, he came in during the season.
Yeah.
Now he's here from the beginning.
Still,
they're
up against it. Shane Pinto got signed back, though. They bring in David Perron, which is a very interesting move, considering he sucker punched Artem Zub last year. Or I guess cross-checked him in the face.
How many teams has Perron played on now?
Oh, man. Well, he's been in St. Louis, 3 times. He's played with Pittsburgh.
Journeyman of the highest degree.
Not quite Mike Sillinger. But
No, he hasn't got that. But he's got time to be. Was
it with Detroit last year?
Yep.
They're also picking up, surprise, surprise, some Leaf scraps. Michael Amadio and Noah Gregor both signing. Well, Amadio a 3-year deal, Noah Gregor signing a 1-year deal.
Noah Gregor's still young enough to say that he's got some potential.
He's still an RFA technically. I mean, he's 25, so it's.
But that's what I'm saying. So 25, you get the right break. How old was Hyman when he left Toronto? 25.
Oh, well, completely different circumstances. Hyman had already proven he was a point producer, though. He could play on the top line. Gregor couldn't even stick on the fourth line.
But he can play defense. I don't know. I wouldn't.
He's a good skater, but that's about it.
Maybe he'll be a penalty kill guy for them or something.
Well, obviously he will. Colorado, they're another team that's up against it. They re-signed Drouin.
For good money.
They got Brandstrom. They got Calvin DeHaan, some depth guys. But the whole Landeskog situation makes things very, very tough for them.
What's the word on him? Is he going to be LTR'd maybe?
I don't know. He's got 5 years left in that contract, too, which just sucks for the Avalanche.
And, he's such a great player. I would have given him that money at the time. I'm not saying you shouldn't have gave him that contract.
Obviously, and $7 million, that's a great cap hit for the player he is.
Oh, of course. And if he comes back, like I say, he's going to be in camp.
It's just, if he's going to be healthy or not, it's the question.
But didn't they say he's going to come to camp? Or he's skating or something? But that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, what does that mean anything?
Yeah.
Until you're skating with contact, that's...
There you go.
Exactly.
And he's such a great player.
Yep.
Too bad.
The Chicago Blackhawks have 2 new highest paid players on the roster. They are Tyler Bertuzzi and Teuvo Teravainen making his way back to the Windy City. Patrick Maroon there on a 1-year deal. Craig Smith there on a 1-year deal.
Good old Patrick Maroon.
Good old Patrick Maroon, the balloon.
You got it.
Alec Martinez there on a 1-year deal, and TJ Brody signing for 2. They also bring in Laurent Brossoit. So adding to every position, I think Chicago's making it obvious that they do not want to be the doormat that they were last year. They have to sit around Bedard with some good players.
Of course. And protect him.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because last year, everything went wrong for this team. So
and then some. Okay.
And they brought in also Mikheyev. Can't forget about that one.
I think that could be a good signing.
Yeah, I'm not saying Chicago's going to be fighting for a playoff spot, but they won't be 15th in the conference.
Yeah, gotcha. They'll show up most nights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Devils, the new darlings of the league, basically, with what they've done.
Sheldon Keefe, my prediction, Coach of the Year. Heard it, that's my number one. I'm sticking to that from now until next year. Sheldon Keefe will be the Coach of the Year. They have too much. They added some pieces. They got goaltending. Come on.
Even though the Coach of the Year is really just who got the best goaltending that season.
I'm not saying that. Does he got better goaltending? Everyone's talking very highly about this tandem now.
Well, Markstrom Allen, how can you not?
There you go.
Dougie Hamilton, you got things going to be coming back, but the real big news is them signing basically a new defensive pair, Brett Pesce and Brendan Dillon. Pesce's going to slot in right away as like a top 4 guy. Whether or not he's ahead of Hamilton remains to be seen, probably not. But then Brendan Dillon, a hard-hitting guy, not the flashiest guy, not the most skilled, but he's going to play tough. Yeah.
6'2".
They also bring Thomas Tatar back to town in a 1-year deal.
He could be the next Sillinger.
Oh, no, he's played on way less. I think he's played on less teams than Perron.
L.A., Montreal.
Tatar?
Didn't he play for L.A. for a minute?
I don't think he played with L.A. Vegas, Detroit.
Vegas. Maybe it was Vegas, Detroit, Montreal.
So Detroit, Vegas, Montreal, New Jersey, Colorado, Seattle.
That's more than 3 teams. I always liked him. I did.
He's a good player.
Yeah, solid player. Just, where does he fit? Salary cap. He's one of those guys that's in nowhere man's land all the time. Must be a drag.
Speaking of a drag, Tampa Bay Lightning, what the hell are you doing?
Ooh, we've talked about this quite a bit.
So they lose Stamkos. They bring in Gensel on a 7-year deal. Good player, not a center, though. They bring in Cam Atkinson on a 1-year deal. Zembis Girgensons on a 3-year deal. Some good buy low options, but... again, scoring's going to be an issue. And you lose Mikhail Sergachev and you bring in Ryan McDonough. I think that's... I like McDonough. He's arguably one of the greatest defensive defensemen in the league right now. But 35, he's not getting any younger. And Sergachev, he was a guy on the rise. I really question where the team's going to be.
And just think, who are both of those guys drafted by?
Who?
Montreal.
Oh, but Sergachev and McDonough,
Yeah. Like, what were you doing? Oh, those were the Bergevin days. I forgot.
Well, what's his name? Gainey traded away McDonough, though.
I wasn't happy with that. Probably the worst trade in the history of the Habs.
I say, but if you don't have Scott Gomez, you don't go to the conference finals that year.
It took them to the conference finals to start playing. Come on.
Winnipeg, things look pretty par for the course there. Not really many
They're
big
one
moves.
of my teams that's suggesting they're going to take a step back. I hope not, because I'm cheering for all the Canadian teams, really. I think
they have a strong program, though. So I don't think it's going to be too bad. They add Capo Kakinen in net. I think that's going to be a good move, considering they lost, oh my God, I just said his name. The guy that Chicago just signed.
Oh, right, okay. I don't remember names, you know that. I know you were talking about, though. But Hellebuck's going to do the bunch anyway. So
obviously.
So they're not overly concerned with that. He'll play 60 games.
I think Winnipeg's still going to be competitive. Should still make the playoffs next year.
Some
not
go
a guarantee,
up, some go
though.
Down, some go up, some go down. You know.
Dallas, they bring back Matt Duchene. They signed Sam Steele from Edmonton. It's going to be a great bottom 6 guy. Colin Blackwell, another bottom 6 addition.
I still think they'll be a top 4 team in the West.
They add Matt Dumba and Ilya Lyubushkin, which I think are good pickups considering that they lost. Well, Tannins was really a rental, but I think, and Hakanpää too, that they lost to the Leafs. But they should still be solid. Are they going to be at the top of the conference again?
We'll see.
I doubt it.
It's all on paper.
Oh, and they buy out Ryan Suter too. That's another one.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite defenseman, especially in Minnesota.
There you go.
New York Rangers added Riley Smith from Pittsburgh on a trade. They signed Sam Carrick from Edmonton, a good bump 6 pickup. Although the big news for them, besides the Shesterkin extension that we're all expecting any day now, Jacob Trouba potentially on the trade block.
That's insane. It's
going to be tough to move him, though.
With that money.
Well, and he's got a no trade.
Toronto's on the list to go to.
You think so? 15 team. Well, it's 15, so he's got to cover half the league.
Okay.
They're probably figuring they're not going to trade him to Toronto.
Okay. Anyways, Toronto comes up on everything. Good defenseman. Yep. I don't know what went wrong in New York. And he's the captain. He's the
captain, too.
Wow. But you know what? They're going to be in cap hell in about 18 months.
Well,
that's what I'm thinking about Captain Hell. So you know what I mean. I think they're going for it now, or they better go for it now because they'll be taking the team that step back. Rangers I didn't do anything to get tougher. That's what surprised me. I thought they would try to bulk up a bit. You know what I mean? They didn't do anything appearing to me like get any size or stuff like that. You know.
Blues, it looks pretty par for the course for them. Although they will have the Joseph brothers playing together for them, I think that's pretty cool.
Anytime we see that, we think it's
Matthew cool. And Pierre Oliver.
Parents must love that.
Oh, absolutely. Don't have to root for 2 separate teams. LA Kings. Looks like they're kind of clearing the way for Quentin Byfield to step up in that number 2 center role, potentially number 1.
Yep.
That's obviously the role of the future for them. They had Joel Edmondson on defense. And in goalie, they have some 3 options now that they could turn to. Should be interesting. Kemper, Riddick, and Copley. I think they're just going with the
take a chance to see which.
Yeah, well, I was going to say quantity over quality.
There you go. I still don't think that LA is going to be very competitive.
How competitive, though, is the question.
Definitely a playoff team.
They're in a division with Vancouver, Vegas, and Edmonton.
Well, they're going to fight like dogs. They got that kind of team. You know what I mean? And I don't care what anyone says. Doughty's still got some tread on the tire.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he's not the guy that I'm worried about.
No, that's what I'm saying. No. So you got him in your dressing room. That goes a long way. You know what I mean? You look over at that guy. You're not going to slouch.
No.
And I think that LA at the beginning, remember, I was really on their bandwagon until they got to about January, February, and then what happened?
Whoopsie.
Yep, that happens to a lot of teams. But I still think they're going to be competitive.
Seattle, another team making some good splashes, I thought, signing Chandler Stevenson to a massive 7-year deal. Also, Brandon Montour to a massive 7-year deal. It's going to help that power play a lot in that team. Really had trouble scoring. I think this could help make waves. You look at Seattle all of a sudden, and they got a good roster now. Goaltending is the big question, though.
Young and old.
Yep.
They're building that balance because, you know what I mean? And they just
much like Dallas.
Exactly. So I think Seattle's going to be a surprise team on a competitive they're not going to be a Stanley Cup contender, but I think with the addition.
Hey, they knocked out Colorado last season in the first round, right?
There you go. So anything's possible, right?
You got Jordan Eberle there, who's been clutch before.
Yep.
Yanni Gourde, Stanley Cup winner.
Yep.
Jared McCann, who all of a sudden started scoring 40 goals when he enters Seattle. Should be good for them.
I like their management.
Oh, yeah.
I like how they're thinking. Yeah.
And she also mentioned with Seattle hiring the first ever woman behind the bench, Jessica Campbell, becoming an assistant coach. Best of luck to her in the organization.
If you don't know who this woman is, go check out her resume. Ridiculous.
Yeah, former Team Canada player.
Oh, and her hockey IQ is through the roof. I think she's going to be an excellent addition to the team. Excellent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Carolina, I thought, took a minor step back.
Me too.
Losing a couple guys. They signed Sean Walker. They signed Shane Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere's good, bad, and ugly about defense.
There you go. But they lost Aho.
No. You're thinking of the other Aho.
Oh, right. Is that
because Pittsburgh signed the one that's a defenseman.
Oh, right.
He played with the Islanders.
Right. Okay.
I think their big hope is that Kuznetsov can step up. Whether or not that's going to happen remains to be seen. Should still be a playoff team next year. I don't see them falling out.
No, I think they'll still be in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not for the cup.
I doubt they're a division champion this year either. San Jose Sharks signing Tyler Toffoli to a 4-year deal. That was massive. Bringing in Alexander Venberg on a 2-year deal. They picked up Barclay Goudreau off waivers. Just trying to surround the kids there. Will Smith, and we expect Macklin Celebrini, the number 1 pick, to play there as well.
Do you think Toffolini is a good sign?
Toffoli?
I thought it was a little bit expensive.
$6 million. Yeah, but their cap hits, like, they don't have many considerations. It's going to be a bunch of young, cheap kids that they have there. They still have a ton of cap space as it is.
True.
I think that's fine. A guy that can score goals, can play with Celebrini or Will Smith, depending. I think that's a good move. Utah Hockey Club right away making splashes, especially on defense, bringing in Mikhail Sergachev on a trade from the Tampa Bay Lightning, signing Sean Dursey, signing Ian Cole. They're looking to be competitive this year. They had a pretty decent first half of the season before the whole Arizona politics kind of fell into there. So, again, I don't think Utah's going to be a playoff team right away, but they should be there, at least competitive every night.
Okay, so what were the height of all those 3 guys they signed?
Well, I know Sergachev's a big boy.
Yep.
He's 6'2".
Yep. They went for size, you know?
Yeah. Well, Ian Cole, is he
6 feet?
6'1". Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was smaller than that, but.
No. You could put a little more girth on, but outside of that.
Columbus finally going after center, signing Sean Monahan. Expensive deal, 5.5 for 5 years. But they have to have, they have the worst center depth in the league. Well, maybe than Minnesota. But
he's not a number 1.
They need somebody.
Okay.
That's better than playing Patrick Laine there.
Okay.
No, that's no slight at Patrick Laine. He's a winger. Simple as that.
Did you know Montreal kicked Laine's tires?
I believe it.
Yeah.
That would have made sense for you guys.
Yeah, I went, ooh.
Just what's the price tag is the question.
That's the, and what you got to give up.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
I heard that's a stalling point. But, the Habs, one of the teams that kicked his tires. Maybe go there and become the Frenchman that he wants to be. No, he's from Finland. Forgot. But anyways, we play that fire wagon hockey. I don't know. I wouldn't touch him personally. I thought it was kind of interesting if he ever reached his potential. But...
Well, yeah, well, that remains to be seen.
But
Buffalo making a few signings. James Reimer in nets, as well as bringing in Jason Zucker, Sam Lafferty. Some good guys, but I think...
Same old song and dance, Buffalo.
Their defense is the real question this year because they have Darlene, they got Owen Power, and they got Bowen Byram now. Can those guys kind of make something happen there? That's the question.
I don't think they're a playoff team.
I still think they're up against it too, and they had to buy out Jeff Skinner. That's going to hit their cap for a while. Detroit Red Wings making a couple signings, bringing back Patrick Kane. Also bringing in Vladimir Tarasenko. I think that's very interesting. Basically, them in Ottawa swapping Perron for Tarasenko.
I'd rather have Tarasenko.
Ooh, I'm not sure about that.
Really?
I like Perron.
Yeah.
Because he's a good two-way guy, too.
Okay.
They bring Eric Gustafson. And Detroit now carrying 4 goalies. Ville Husso, who I believe they're trying to move. They bring in Cam Talbot on a 2-year deal. They still have Alex Lyon with a year left. And they bring in Jack Campbell on a 1-year deal. You got
$770,000. Jack Campbell, a steal. A steal. But you know what I've heard?
Michigan guy.
Yeah, I've heard this, and I don't know around the scuttlebutt. They're saying that since goalies are such a hot commodity in the league, especially in the last 2 seasons, that they say that there'll be some training camp shenanigans going on with all these teams having 4 guys. And and look at who's going to be maybe getting cut. And what's the waiver situation with other teams so they can move one of the goalies out, maybe pick up a piece. You know what I mean? Like these teams that are doing that. So it should be interesting. And Detroit's one of the ones in line with that. Sounds like an Yzerman move. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the way that he manages. Like he goes, I got some assets. I'll just keep them in my back pocket. We'll see by Thanksgiving Day what's going on. That's American Thanksgiving Day.
Exactly. You know? Anaheim Ducks, only really major trade or move that they made was a game Brian Dumoulin for cheap from Seattle. Gives them another D in their lineup, but they're a team, I think they're behind it. Could be potentially the last place team in the NHL, if you ask me.
I'm saying so.
For me, it's between them and the Calgary Flames, who just... Wow. They are cleaning house. I mean, up front, they still have some guys. They signed Anthony Mantha to a 1-year deal. Hooray for them, I guess. Have some guys on D as well. They picked up Jake Bean, a little bit of a good buy low trade. But in net, Vladar and Dustin Wolf, they got some questions to be answered.
I'll be going to one of those 4-team goalies knocking on the door by American Thanksgiving. I feel bad for Calgary. Great fan base and way to get treated like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of the things I wanted to bring up when we're talking about all this and the adjustments for teams, there's two things I want to bring up. First of all, is the Florida Panthers really the template to win a Stanley Cup? And I'm going to put it in this perspective. Wasn't it just like let's just go back to the year that Marner got signed, because we're talking about Marner, my boy, and everything. And size, speed, it was going to be speed and skill was going to take over from size. How is that working out in the NHL right now?
Well, they're taking more jobs. You can argue that definitely.
Oh, okay. Because I like the skilled positions, but it gets back to my original argument. Those little French fry guys flying around all season can get you a bunch of points and put you in a position to get in the playoffs. Yeah. Once you get in the playoffs, then you got to run up against a couple of freaking brick walls.
Oh, yeah.
And some of those little guys suddenly aren't quite in a 7-game series what they were supposed to be during the regular season, so to speak. So my theory is, when you look at Vegas winning the Cup last year, when you look at Colorado winning, what was the common denominator with Florida this year? 6 big oak trees on your back end. So I can't buy...
Well, 5.
5, well, yeah. Well,
Not Montour.
But he was a skill guy, so they were okay. My point being is, I don't care what anyone says, size wins. Speed will get you there, but eventually size is never going to go away from the NHL, and I think the pendulum is coming back. Just look at how many teams now have 5 defensemen over 6 feet, over 200 pounds, including my Montreal Canadiens. You know what I mean? What did Toronto Maple Leafs just do?
They just picked up a bunch of big D.
Okay, and the top teams in the league, what do they got? Go out and look at Colorado. Look at their first 4 guys. Look at Vegas's first 4 guys. Look at Dallas's first 4 guys. Those teams in the league. Jersey's first 4 guys.
Yep.
All of those guys are 6-footers with freaking mitts, which they use whatever way needed to be in that part of the game. So I'm going to say that I think that the premise of smaller, speedier guys got a little bit overrated or a little bit overblown. And the reason I'm saying that is, will Cole Caulfield lead us to the Stanley Cup Finals? I think he's going to be a good perimeter player, but I don't think he's going to be the guiding light that takes us down the middle.
He's got to score 30 for you guys.
Oh, if he doesn't this year, I'll be screaming, because at least he's got a little bit more hockey sense, as we know that is Suzuki. But Suzuki's no big boy.
No. Well, we have all season to discuss this.
Yes. But I'll get back to the size.
Yeah, let's do some quick hits on the draft. So Celebrini, obviously, number 1 to San Jose.
Yeah.
Levshunov, number 2 to Chicago. Demidov, number 5 to Montreal. That was a great pickup.
I think that's a steal of the draft. I wonder why he fell like that. Is there something going on? Is it because he's from Russia?
Yeah, even though the word is now, you got to be more worried about the American college free agents or American college guys than the Russians right now. Because the Russians, they might not stay with you forever, but they'll sign those rookie contracts with your team and at least play it out.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, some of that NIL money is seeping down into the hockey, so you don't know when you're going to get your guy. You know what I mean? So it's there. And I was surprised because a couple of the top drafts, our other pick was a Michigan defenseman, by the way. I was very happy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was a Michigan defenseman, big boy, but he won't be playing for a couple of years. But when I was thinking about it, I was very happy to see a Ginla's kid.
TJ Ginla going to Utah, their first ever pick.
Yes, the first ever pick of those guys. And I thought, wow, that's pretty freaking amazing. You know what I mean? And what do you think of this Lindstrom guy from Medicine Hat? He had some injury issues, but he's a big boy. You know what I mean?
It's so tough for me to say, how
until they get on the ice.
Yeah, exactly.
As I say, but when I was looking at his stats, because I got the first 6 guys down here, and it's interesting because the first guys came from college. Boston U, Michigan State. Interesting. You know what I mean? And the way that the NHL has gone over the years. But, the skill set has translated to the NHL on too many occasions to really question it. But how many times do you get a draft like this and the guys from the top are all college guys?
Yeah, all college guys.
Pretty interesting.
NIL, power that, I guess. Leafs traded their pick number 23 to move down to 31. They end up taking Ben Danford, a right-handed defenseman from Oshawa, who, looks pretty good. Obviously, the ceiling is not quite as high on him. It's, basically a second-round pick at that point. But there seems to be mixed reviews about his offensive skill and, I guess, his intensity.
Yeah,
but
I heard
we'll
that
see.
Too. But he's got size.
He's got size and he can play D.
But that's what they're questioning. His size should translate to more intensity. That's the word that I've been hearing. Well, get to the NHL, maybe you'll figure it out.
Exactly. Who knows? Yeah. You won't. Well, I mean, let's get to rookie camp first before we judge that.
There you go.
Also, no one congratulated Florida at the draft. I thought that was funny.
Wonder why? Can you tell me why? Come on, I would have forgot. Oh, Florida. Yeah, okay.
I know people congratulated Vegas. I'm
looking at it this way. There's just something about the way that Florida won the Stanley Cup this year put a bad taste in my mouth. That's all I'm saying.
Joe Quenneville and Stan Bowman got reinstated July 1st. That was big news.
Yeah, right. We know we said slip it in when.
But also, you brought up a good point. July 1st is the new year for hockey, so it technically is the right place to announce that.
Okay, so we're going to let the NHL slide on that one, but it was kind of cheesy, didn't you think?
Well, I mean, they had to say it sometime early in the summer.
So
why not just say it then?
Okay, did I tell you how I found out about it?
No.
I told you, didn't I?
I don't think so.
I'm watching the draft.
Oh.
The ticker goes by.
Oh, you mean free agency?
Yeah, the free agency. Yeah, oh yeah, not the draft, the free agency. So I'm watching free agency, and all of a sudden along the bottom of the ticker comes this little note. I stopped my TV, rewound it, and said, what? That's interesting. The question is, and we've argued about this, how soon will he be back in the NHL?
Quenneville, I think, is probably going to get a job as an advisor pretty soon.
And you said Stan Bowman cannot go to Edmonton.
I would not hire him if I was Edmonton.
Okay, well, you give me the on the shoulders of others.
He's the epitome of a Nepo baby. Wow. He's only there because of his name.
Oh, gee. Oh.
Did a shit job in Chicago. I'll say that every day of the week.
I know. Even though he's got rings, okay, whatever.
Oh, that's with the team built by Dale Talon.
There we go.
It's the same situation like Julian Brisebois is in with Tampa Bay. Yzerman built up the foundation. Yeah, I made some nice little tweaks to get them those cups. Fine. But when it came time to okay, we need to make some changes. We need to reinvent this team a little bit. They just don't know what to fucking do. Okay.
Tampa's going to be the story of the year at times.
They might backdoor their way back into the playoffs, but I do not think they'll be competitive at all.
Anyways, the only thing is I'm thinking for both those guys is the old American adage that every man needs an opportunity at redemption.
Fair.
That's
fair.
That's the only way I can look
I would be
at
more inclined to hire Quenneville than Bowman, though.
Yeah, but we already discussed this. He ain't parachuting into Columbus.
No, especially after what happened last year with the Babcock situation, right?
Yeah, but my prediction is then, if there's a team in a mess by American Thanksgiving, which will be our barometer for starting the NHL season, I say Quenneville will become off the couch immediately.
Wow.
Yep.
Bold, I like it. Mm-hmm. Also, the Leafs have a new ECHL affiliate, the Cincinnati Cyclones. Obviously, after what happened to Newfoundland, they needed a new one.
Yep.
So, Cincinnati, welcome to the Leafs family. And that's about it. I mean, we are running long. I think we should speed through our next couple topics before our grand finale.
Okay. And we might hold off on the grand finale if we run too long, because I think that it's time for me to let the world know how much of a Euro Cup guy I am.
Oh, I thought we were going into baseball.
Oh, baseball, right. Okay. I see how excited I am. Okay, so we're going to go into baseball now, which
with
is
our miserable Toronto Blue Jays.
I was just going to say, it's starting to look like one of the most depressing things I've ever got to bring up is the goddamn Toronto Blue Jays.
Just lost 3 or 4 games against the Astros. I was there for the only game they won.
I know. Thank God. Thank God. You know what I'm saying?
And they got away with one that night too.
Oh, okay. First of all, we're going to talk before we get to the Blue Jays. Let's look at the structure of the league right now. Pitching is outdoing hitting. And that's the Blue Jays' big problem. Okay, they don't hit. Once again, there's only 14 guys in the major leagues hitting 300. Right now, Vladdy's going to end up being a 300 hitter after that horrendous start, and he's now a top 50 power player in the league.
He's the only hitter that you can't say damn about.
Exactly.
He's been having a great season.
He had a slow start, but he's up to 1350, hitting 296, and his defense is as good as ever.
297 now.
297, yeah, with what is it, 13 and 50 something?
He has got 13 home runs, 98 hits. How many RBIs? 50 RBIs.
Yeah, so he's on pace to probably drive in 100 runs. It's just a barometer for a decent season for any player in this league. You know what
845 OPS. That's a stat I love.
Oh, that's going to be, and I think he's going to be in the home run derby again. Correct, isn't he?
Although they're changing the format of that this year. I haven't done a deep dive into that.
Well, next week's our big baseball extravaganza. We're going to let everybody know. But the bottom line with the Toronto Maple Leafs is, the Toronto Blue Jays is this: you just fooled us. You're emperor's new clothes. That's all you guys are. And like I said, I rant about it. I'm not going to say nothing about the baseball experience because that's beating a dead horse. Look at this lineup. And now we're like, what, a month away from the trade deadline? What are we going to do? I'm scared. First of all, what are we going to do about starting pitching? Everybody in the league's looking for starting pitching. Suddenly, Kikuchi is on the block. They're sniffing around at Bassett. I heard today.
Kikuchi makes a lot of sense. Bassett.
Yes. No, we just signed a guy last year. We signed him for 5.
I wouldn't trade Bassett unless you get completely blown away by an offer.
Okay.
Because let's not forget our farm system needs help too.
Agreed. So the bottom line is, what happens with Gozman now? His contract isn't quite as long. No. We're getting to the end of his. Does someone take
I would hang on to him because his value can't be high right now.
That's what, but I don't want someone trying to come in the back door and try to steal him, and we start the next season and we're going to go, oh, gee, what's our starting rotation look like? No,
hang on to him.
Okay. What we'd like to do, talking about the Toronto Blue Jays right now, is we'd like to give a big shout out to my he's like, I'm a second dad. He calls me a second dad. So I'll go with there because I've known him only since he's 4. So, this is Andrew B.O.H. Freeman. We call him Free on the team, who played his best game of the season for the Sluggers on Tuesday night. I'll give him this. This man has a fascination with our outfielder named Varsho.
Still?
This guy free. If you send me one more thing about Varsho, because I'm going to give it to you.
Does he know he's hitting under 200?
We're going to get to that right now because we got to understand who we let go in order to get this guy. Oh, God. We're not even going to talk about, we had to change the dressing room and let Teoscar go because Teoscar's only hitting about 260 with 15 and 58, okay? But let's get to the principles in the matter, okay? Oh, Lourdes Gurriel. He's only hitting 268 after a slow start. He's got 12 and 51, okay? And what is the best defensive catcher in the league doing? Because he had some injury problems and he missed 20 games. Well, guess what? He's still got 4 home runs and 28 RBIs. He's still only hitting 250 or 241. Last thing I thought, 241 is higher than 197, okay? And Varsho with those big power numbers, he's got 11 home runs and 36 RBIs. He's our power provider. Free. I'm killing you right now. I'm killing you. If Marino played another 20 games, his numbers would probably be better than Varsho's for the whole season. So we at the House That Happens say this. Worst trade in the history of Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not backing down from that. Free, I love ya. But I don't call you BOH for nothing, okay? So take this Varsho guy and bring him out for the Sluggers, man. We need a guy who can catch, don't we? Anyway, I don't mean to pick on you, but when we talk about all the failures that have gone with the Toronto Blue Jays, Varsho's now becoming a poster boy. He's not even hitting his weight.
No.
Come on. What are we going to do? And now, the other thing is, there got to be a little bit of discombobulation going on in the dressing room when Hazel May, of all people, breaks that, hey, Bo, would you be surprised if you get traded? Nope. Oh, gee, that was a good one to hear in the middle of a Toronto Blue Jay slump. Yep. When Bo's not playing as good as he is, but you're going to give away a player of that caliber. His players have down years a bit. He's had some nagging injuries. I'm scared. I'm scared about this trade line.
I'm scared too.
Because you know what I mean?
And only 3 series left until All-Star break.
You know what's worse? The guys that are going to be making the trades. That's the part that scares me. And one more thing I want to say to everybody that's been picking up on us lately, and I've been handing out their numbers. Oh, you're the House That Happens. They're going to hear. If you ask me one more time, do you think it's time to fire John Schneider? I'm going to say you've lost your mind. Don't you see those strings that go all the way up to the press box when his arms start moving? Because if you fire Schneider, everybody got to go. Because
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Poop rolls downhill. Last time I checked. So you put this guy in and we know why. Okay? And now, after that fiasco in the game last year when we lost in the playoffs, which is still questioning about who really runs the bench, you're going to fire the guy? He ain't getting fired, people. Maybe at the end of the season they say we need a change.
Yeah.
We need an environment difference. We need a new voice in the dugout. What, with the other 5 guys that are trying to tell everybody how to hit? Stop it. This team's a mess. Huge disappointment. At the end of the season, they will be considered probably one of the biggest disappointments in the league. Now, I'm going to take it one step further to make that anyone don't want to believe me. There's traditional baseball markets that if they fall down, they jump right back. Let's talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. They were under 500 last year. The whole city lost their mind. Where is St. Louis Cardinals now? They happen to be 4 games under 500 and comfortably in a wild card position after what they
4 games over 500.
4 games over 500 in a wild card position after they just had the worst season they've had in 20 years? That's called bounce back. Oh, what's that other team in our division? Even though I hate them and they're not going to win the division, like I said. But the Yankees had their worst season in 20 last year. What ended up happening? Yankees are fighting for the American League East title, the toughest division in baseball.
Just 2 games back of Baltimore.
End of story. The Houston Astros, who are just in town, had what? The worst start of the season or second worst after Chicago?
And now they're only 2 games out of their division lead.
Winning 14 of their last 15. My point being is if we're a big market team with a big budget and a big fan base and a big operation, how come we never bounce back? Now, this was supposed to be on the rise.
Well, I think we know why.
Okay.
Poor management.
They're killing me. So we were on the rise. Look at our trajectory. Starting 2023, some people had us predicted to go to the World Series. It's 18 months later. What are they talking about us? Disaster on the diamond. What are we going to rebuild with? What happened to the $600 million that we had for Ohtani? Everything that you tell me about the Toronto Blue Jays, I can kick in the face immediately. And you got no defense. And that kills me. Like, I don't want to talk about the Jays like this, but come on.
No,
you know what I mean? And wait till the attendance drops at the end of the year when nobody's showing up in September, when all those games when they were going through the roof last year because they were in contention. Well, the bean counters then get a slap in the head because the turnstile ain't moving quick enough. We're going to see.
We will see. We will move this along because, frankly, this is too depressing.
Okay.
We'll have a playoff, kind of like a mid-season show coming up, though.
Okay, so before we go, a couple of really quick things about baseball we can't freaking ignore is the fact that Bryce Harper won Player of the Month 2 times in a row. Don't think it's happened in the history of baseball.
Wow.
That's really cool. Chris Sale, a guy I thought was on the freaking hump, is suddenly looking like a Cy Young again. And we're at St. Louis, is it? Atlanta? You know, holding their rotation down. And if we'd be remiss if we didn't say, let's have some respect that Aaron Judge is having with the insane season. Just give him the MVP.
Ridiculous season.
Give him the MVP right now.
Agreed.
On with the show. This is it.
Yeah. We'll move us along to Copa America, where Canada finds himself in the knockout round after a pretty contentious game against Chile. A little chippy, a little classic.
Chippy?
CONMEBOL versus CONCACAF action over there.
Oh, my God. The only team I like, and they're my sleeper team, is the Uruguay guys. They're the only dirtier team I've seen in there. I told you last night, right? They run with their elbows up. Or something like that.
They got spikes on their elbows, too, I'm pretty
there
sure.
You go. But those are rugged, badass teams. Now, I think we can win tonight. Or it's tomorrow. I think we can win tomorrow night.
Oh, against Venezuela, 100%.
Okay, but then that's the party. Let's go home.
Yeah, and then you face the winner of Argentina-Ecuador. I wonder who's going to come out of that one.
Okay, there you go. And then what's on the other side of the bracket? That's why I don't think...
We have Colombia versus Panama on Saturday, and then also Uruguay versus Brazil, which you got to think the winner of that probably moves to the final.
100%. Even though Colombia, I think, is going to win their game, and they're going to come fight.
They should beat Panama.
Yeah, they should. And they'll put up a fight. They're a scrappy, crazy-ass team, too. So, but the difference is when we talk about the 2 big shows, not the fact that freaking Euro completely shades Copa. It's the fact that before Copa started, it's gone. It's like the story. Next page. Oh, we got the Argentina. We got the Brazil. That's not going on in Euro.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So that's
the scale of the tournaments are completely different, though.
Exactly.
It's hard to compare.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we're getting some good soccer, but I was telling you this last night. I told a couple other people because I'm going to be bragging again on and you've seen my excellent multi-screen setup. So if you're a sports guy, you come to my man cave and I'll take care of you. But I took the time to put a Copa game on one top screen and I took a Euro game on the other screen and I said, is this the same sport?
Oh, yeah.
Is what's going on here? It was insane. And I will just say this, which I'll use your word. European is more structured soccer. They invented the beautiful game, and sometimes you see beautiful things happen in the European game. I see great plays in Copa, but I don't see no beautiful game. No. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a soccer guy, but when you're like...
Copa guys run with their elbows out.
And like I said, now that I've immersed myself this deeply into the whole tournament, know what's going on, I'm just absolutely flabbergasted at the difference in it. And that's why the play in World Cup gets a little weird, because you get a team like Ecuador playing Denmark. Ooh, that gets weird, don't you think?
Sure.
It's got to get weird, no matter how it is.
It's been a crazy Copa, though. Mexico, the United States, and Chile all failed to make the knockout rounds.
Insane. Like, you know, if you want to talk about in context, that's like Germany, Spain, and... no, not that big, because the Yanks suck. I mean, their performance sucks. They were poor.
Yeah.
Mexico.
No, they do suck.
They were so bad. They should be embarrassed that World Cup coming in a couple of years. What are they going to represent in 2 years with it being in North America? They're going to be an embarrassment.
Oh, it's a big question whether or not they're going to fire the coach or not.
Oh, that's coming. They got to do something. Something's got to be moving, because they're just 2 years away from World Cup in America. They can't perform like this.
Mexico's a mess, too, and they got the World Cup coming there, too.
That's part two. Last time I checked, isn't some World Cup games going to be in Mexico? And what did they do? Okay, and the thing is, Mexico is always, like, is this the first time they got kicked out this early in the last couple of Copas, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, because last time I think they made it to the knockout rounds.
Oh, they did, and I think they made it to the quarterfinals. Oh, yeah, they made it now. Yeah, so, and Mexico's always been competitive. They fight Brazil. They fight Argentina. What happened?
I know their program's been on a downturn, too, because I remember during qualifications for the last World Cup that the fans in Mexico wanted the coach's head, too. But it's been a great tournament. Brazil's been sleepwalking through this tournament. 100%. I wonder when they're going to wake up. Could be that game against Uruguay.
They better, because you know what? Those Uruguay guys are, you know what? They're coming for keeps. Mm-hmm. That's a crazy-ass team, man. They just run. I don't even know if they have any structure, but they run like mofos,
And then Colombia's going to be waiting for the winner of that, you'd think, too. So it's going to be very interesting. I love the knockout rounds of the Copa America. I'm going to be watching. Should be a great few games.
Oh, I think so, too. What if Uruguay upsets Brazil?
Very possible.
Oh, by the way, full disclosure, Uruguay is my Belgium pick of Copa. We know where Belgium is now.
Yeah.
Great game. We'll get that in a minute. But I don't know. It's just something about Uruguay. When I see them play, they've scored a couple spectacular goals. You know what I mean? But they look like a bunch of rodents on the freaking wheel. They just don't stop.
No.
They just keep on going. Hey, guys, what about the back end? We'll get to that later. But it makes for some exciting moments, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
It's like super exciting, but that's just the way it is. Who are your picks for it?
Boy.
We're taking Canada.
Yeah, I'm taking Canada. I'm taking Argentina.
I'm taking Brazil, and, of course, my boys from Uruguay. Where weed is...
You can't take both of them. They're playing each other.
Who's that?
So we have Argentina, Ecuador is tonight. I'm taking Argentina.
I'm taking Argentina.
We have Canada, Venezuela tomorrow. I'm taking Canada. Then Saturday we have Colombia, Panama. I'm going to take Colombia.
I am too.
And then Uruguay, Brazil at 9 o'clock. I'm going to take Brazil.
Okay. Let's not be stupid. So I don't want to be on the air saying that I'm picking Uruguay over Brazil. I'll get kicked in the head by my dog by the time I get home. Got to take Brazil. Come on.
No, you don't have to.
No. I don't want to sound stupid. I'm trying to get some soccer.
I think it happened. Uruguay is no slouch.
I know. I've seen all like 3 of their games. I've seen them play 3 times. And every time I see them, I go, these guys are too much fun. I'm not saying all that shit's legal. You know what I mean? And I see referees falling over the pocket, but I don't see the yellow cards coming out as fast in Copa as I do in Europe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that must tell you something about the style of play, so to speak.
Absolutely.
There we go.
We'll move this from the Copa America to Euro 2024, where we are entering the quarterfinals tomorrow. Not all the big dogs, but a lot of the big dogs still left in there. This is when they start to play each other. The real exciting rounds here.
What happened to Italy?
Oh, they played like shit. They played like shit. The papers there are calling it a national disaster.
I know you said Spalletti clown in the rundown, so what I did is I actually went on YouTube and seen some of this guy's press conferences. Oh, my God.
Oh, I wish the team's performance lived up to those press conferences.
Oh, I'm telling you, and you know what? They have the translator, so it even sounds more fiery in Italian when he's saying, he's seeing nothing wrong. He's just give us a little bit of structure here. We're going to fine-tune, we'll be fine. Buddy, did you see your team's performance?
He is new to the team, to be fair, and this is a young squad. So
it is very young. You know what I mean? I'm thinking once you get all the guys together, this is a disappointment for Italy, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You lost in the first knockout round.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, we'll see what World Cup.
Euro. I said before the tournament, the bar was the quarterfinals, and they failed to make it there.
Yeah, you did say that. Okay, so goodbye. Let's just talk about the things that went on.
Switzerland, all credit to them, though. They played a fantastic game.
Yes, they did, and now people are telling them that England better tie their shoes really, really tight. But there was some great quarterfinal games, okay?
Round of 16.
The round of 16 games. And here's what I took out of it. Spain's a powerhouse.
They're the best team of the tournament.
When they're turning it on, like what were they doing in the quarterfinal round? Just like, we don't have to worry about this game. We've already moved on. I think it's a sin that they got to play Germany.
Yes. But that game against Georgia, I thought was fantastic. It took a Georgia goal to kind of wake Spain up, but once they did, there's no looking back.
Did you see them looking at each other? I love to see that in a game. They gave up the goal. They all looked at each other like, what went on there? They could have scored 8.
Yeah.
Easily.
Oh, absolutely.
They could have scored 8. It was unbelievable. The game that I thought was interesting was when France played Belgium. That was a battle. Like, I still thought Belgium might have put it out, but you know what? One of the things that you said about Belgium not getting along, it was a cohesiveness of the French that finally got them over the top.
And the French have been sleepwalking through this tournament, much like Brazil in the Copa America.
But Belgium woke them up. Like Belgium
it took an own goal to win.
Okay, but
let's not forget.
Okay, but in the last 15 minutes of the game, the ball was on. Belgium was defending.
Yeah,
fair. It was going. But up until then, it was a battle. I thought maybe that bald guy in the front of Belgium, he's going to steal one because he's the biggest cherry picker in the tournament. He reminds me of Mario Lemieux.
Pass.
What?
He doesn't pass either.
At
least Mario Lemieux passed.
Yeah, he's a cherry picker. You don't. And the strict. How many times has he been called offside?
Oh. I think it's offside goals that have been called. I think he's had like 3 that have been called back by VAR.
2, I say, were 100% offside. 1, I'm not so sure because I'm not.
Well, they have 1 million cameras for Euros. It's tough to argue against the VAR.
So if your eyelash flicks over the other guy's hair, it's offside?
It's offside.
Wow. Some of them are like, whoa. And who's the video director? And why was the game with Romania when the Czechs played the dirtiest game ever?
You mean the Dutch?
No, Czech and Turkey when they played. 1,000 red cards. Yeah. No, was it in the quarterfinals? What was that game? What the game?
Well, Turkey played Austria in the knockout round, and Romania played the Dutch.
Oh, yeah. So it was the last game when Turkey got in when they played Czech. What was it? 30,000 yellow cards. I couldn't believe the numbers in the game. I went, wow. This wasn't Copa America. Was it the ref? Were they that vicious each other? Because Turkey ain't no clean team.
No.
They're not clean. I watched them play, and I went, And I was very disappointed Austria couldn't beat them. Because I thought Austria...
Yeah, it's probably like the biggest upset that round, I'd say.
Turkey over Austria?
Yeah.
And I think that Austria had more possessions and more attempts. They just couldn't get it in the net. They had a couple of great shots, just sailed wide. And they had 1 offside goal called back.
Yeah, Austria had 60% possession.
Yes.
21 shots, only 5 hit the goal, though. I mean, still more than Turkey's 3.
Yeah.
But, Turkey getting it done.
Yeah, I remember we said before the tournament, maybe it's just their time to rise, but they're not going anywhere for the next game.
No. Do I just get right to the quarterfinals and our picks?
Just
I
got a couple of really things to say what I've learned. The best players in the tournament, Musiala. Gapco in the Netherlands. Amazing guy. He's gone now, but that Shirez kid that plays for Slovenia, I loved him.
Yep.
He's one of the best guys. Bellingham of England. I think he's been amazing. I think the best all-around player in the whole thing, playing both ways, is a toss-up between Ruiz and that Harvey's guy on Germany, and they play each other tomorrow. But those guys, they haven't got all the goals, but when you watch the games, you see those 2 guys. They come out of my eye. I checked their number, and I wrote their names. That's why I wrote there. I go, what's that guy? How come I can see that guy all the time? And both of them, I think they're 2 of the best players in the league. Mbappe, whatever.
Mbappe.
He's had his chances. And same as Ronaldo. They have as many chances as anybody in the league. But Ronaldo's long in the tooth, man. He doesn't have that finish he had back in the day. But they got to leave him there because of he's Ronaldo. But I think he's had the most chances inside the box than anybody in the tournament hasn't got a goal.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Let's
get to our predictions.
It's not going to get any easier. So tomorrow, a couple of clashes of titans. We have Spain versus Germany at 12 o'clock noon. We've said it, both of us. Spain looks like the best team of the tournament. I think they're going to take out the hosts.
I think the hosts are going to rise up and upset them.
Wow.
After what I seen when they played Denmark.
Okay.
Because I thought Denmark was a little bit...
Denmark
looked pretty solid until they got against Germany.
Yeah, but they're not Spain.
No. No.
And these are the 2 teams with the most Euro Cups, by the way, playing against each other.
And both teams look like two of the best teams.
They do look like the best teams in this tournament.
I think it's a drag that they had to put them this early in that quarterfinals. It's a drag. I'm taking Germany just because they're home. And if Spain wins, I'm going to say, okay, I made the wrong pick.
I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-1 game for Spain.
Okay.
Where are you taking? What's your score?
2-0 Germany.
Oh, a shutout.
Yeah, or maybe 2-1, maybe even a 3-1. Maybe Germany gets a late goal I'll say 3-1 Germany, which is a high score, because I think that what's going to happen is it's going to be so tight that Germany's going to break that time when sometimes Spain lets their defense open because they're going a little too quick. Germany could come up the middle. They did it against Denmark. So I'm thinking about Denmark's not the same team. You got a point. But I'm taking Germany just because of the home, whatever.
And the winner of that game will play the winner of Portugal versus France. Portugal, I mean, they looked okay. They just barely got by against Slovenia.
What a great game that was.
That was a fantastic game.
That was a great, great game. And I was cheering for Slovenia at the end just because of that kid.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? I was going, come on, buddy, do it. But I don't think they're going to beat France. Like I said, France got a little bit of a wake-up call against Belgium. I think they'll come out a lot quicker because when you watch the beginning of the Belgium-France game, Belgium came in a little quicker. And France had to readjust, and then they did their thing. So I think they will know not to come out because Portugal is a team. You can't come out that slow against Portugal. No. You get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I think France is going to wake up from this one.
2-0.
So very interesting you say that because I think this is going to be a 1-0 game, but I think France is going to get one late to extend it when Portugal's pressing. So we agree it's going to be 2-0.
I think so.
On the other side of the bracket, we have England versus Switzerland. I think this is a very, very interesting matchup. England has kind of been, I guess, just getting by there. And Switzerland's been playing a tough system, obviously a great match against Italy. I'm sensing an upset here.
I'm not. I think it's this way. I don't think Switzerland's got enough firepower. I think they can hold off England for a long time. But I really think that if England just go forward, you mothers, go forward. Because they got a lot of guys that can score. Kane, Billingham, that other kid on the other side. Harry Kane is still a great player. I think that what other teams is I've noticed that a lot of teams kind of like, I'm not saying they double defend him, but it's just when they go in there, you notice that guys go right to him, which has opened it up for this Bellingham kid who's taken advantage of the situation. And they got that other kid on the other side, I forget, that light-skinned guy. I think England's going to pull this out, and I think they're going to do it decisively 2-0.
I'm going to say 1-0 for Switzerland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's going to be, if England plays up to the potential, I see, like, show us. Just show us.
I haven't seen anything to convince me of that, though, this tournament.
Okay.
And I think it might be the end there for Southgate, their manager. Last but not least, the winner of that match will play the winner of Netherlands versus Turkey. Should be a very interesting one, although I think Netherlands, they've been getting better and better as this tournament goes on. I think they're going to take this, I'm going to say by a score of 2-0.
And you know what? If it gets to 3-0, I won't be surprised. Netherlands is too good. And Turkey's gotten away with murder in a couple of these games. They haven't showed me. Every time I see Netherlands, I go, these guys are good. Until yesterday or 2 days ago, Turkey rose up and stole the game. So that doesn't give me enough credibility to believe they're going to beat the Netherlands, man. Those guys are good. Like before the tournament, we kind of mentioned them. But now I would say like the teams that impressed me the most, Spain, Germany, Netherlands.
Yep.
They've never had no problems with no teams. They knew what they were doing. They walked in and they won. They just come. Did you think they had any chance of losing that game in the quarterfinals? No.
No, of course not.
They were way too good. And we'll get back to like you said, when you got structure and defense and those two kids that could attack, I think the Netherlands is going to win comfortably. I think that's going to be the easiest win tomorrow.
Or Saturday,
Saturday, yeah. I think it's going to be the easiest win.
Yeah, so that should be very exciting. And of course, that's going to take us into the semifinals. We will probably put up a video for that because that's going to be midweek with our predictions for social media.
Yep, we'll do something there.
We have a question.
Yes.
For us today.
Well, we're going to end with the question instead of the gospel because we're running too long.
Yeah, we are running a little bit long. Got a little carried away with free agent frenzy.
But we should do that. We're in Toronto. We made Mitch Marner happy.
Did we?
Yes. I told him about the people that seen him in the store and were enthusiastic to him, and he had a smile on his face, and he's not coming to Montreal no more.
Was he ever?
Stop it.
Well, I'd say you stop it. So we have a question from my lovely girlfriend, Radhika.
Oh, okay.
So she had some questions about, she's new to baseball. Okay. This is her second ever baseball game that she was at this past weekend. So she was asking about box score stuff. So they show they have on the left strip, they have each player's previous at bat. She's like, what does this all mean? So it shows like K, BB. Yep. That's how you did at that at bat. So K means that you struck out. If it's a backwards K, it means you struck out without even swinging for it.
Yes.
BB is based on balls, so you walked. HBP, hit by pitch.
Yes.
Then I guess it also tells you if you got a hit, like was it a single, double, triple home run. It also shows you on the base paths how far you reached before getting out or whether you scored or not.
Yep.
And then the other things you want to know is the numbers there. So that's OPS, so that's on base plus slugging. Your on base is a percentage is basically like your hits plus walks.
Radhika, hold on. You got to know algebra for this shit. That's part of the stuff. I understand the height of it. Don't worry about it. If the number looks good, we're good. But when you figure
well, what's a good number?
It is, but I mean...
No, what's a good number, though?
800.
There you go.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. So we'll go over...
Well, 800s mean like you're pretty much like an all-star.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm getting at. But Radhika, don't worry about that.
750, you're getting by.
Radhika, don't worry about those numbers. WAR... All those
don't display. She just wants to know what they display at the game.
Okay, they do. Yeah, they do OPS on that. At the game. Yep.
And then she wants to know about the positions as well. So, first base, third base, you play on the corners, like left, third base. On the left side.
That's why it's called the diamond.
Yeah. Second base and shortstop, you basically play each side of second base. You basically take one each side. So second base plays on the right side, shortstop on the left. Shortstop, the hardest position in baseball, is usually your best defender there. Catcher's behind home plate. He's the one that the pitcher's throwing to. And then you have three outfielders.
Center field, left field, and right field.
There you go.
And the second best...
And the DH, who's only hits for the pitcher, basically.
Which confuses a lot of women because they only see him once in a while. Why is that guy only see him once in a while? My wife used to say that. I go, he's a DH, dear. Don't worry about it. I'm really glad that she's asking about that. And you took her down for a game because, down
Well, I didn't take her to that game, but I have taken her to a game before.
Well, that's very, very cool because baseball is a game that we have to keep alive. You know what I mean?
Toronto has no problem doing that.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's kind of like chess. People forget about it at times sometimes, and it's such a great game. My only thing about her asking the question, I would rather heard her voice doing it.
Oh, fair.
That would have been great. That angel voice talking about baseball. We get her on TV. We'll get her on MLB Network, for that matter.
There you go.
Actually, I like the way that you explain that because when people are learning the game, describe it that simple. Like, don't give them, that's why I was making the joke about the OPS numbers and that. Forget about the algebra. But you're actually describing how the game is and the defense and all that. Most excellent, Andrew.
Oh, thank you. I tried my best.
There you go. So we're going to cancel the gospel because we're running we try to stay within a time limit, but we're having so much fun today we got over it. So I will come back next week with a gospel for you. If you miss it, don't worry about it. It's usually me just wrapping my mouth off too much anyway. But on that note, what a great show, buddy. I hope everybody learns.
Yeah, I really enjoyed today's show.
Me too. And you know what I just telling to everybody, because I know there's some new people out there listening, and I don't know how you say that you heard us or you let us know, but my great producer off the table, hit the button and let us know we're found. Where are we found?
Oh, you'll hear that in the promo after the show.
Thank you very much. In any event, to all the Americans celebrating July 4th,
Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day to one of the greatest nations in the history of the world, who may be on their last legs, but that's another story. Don't complain about the heat, people, please.
I complain about the heat.
Okay, so all yous go to hell. I like to take my January with a couple of weeks of July. That's how I look at it.
I'd rather have the cold.
Oh my God! My blood.
If you're too cold, it's your fault. That means you should have more layers.
I got bad circulation. I freeze quickly. In any event, we had a great time here today. Good luck to Canada in the
Best
Copa.
of luck to Canada in the Copa.
And you know what we do? Quick recovery to our buddy Buchanan, who broke his leg.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He will not be in that match. He's going for surgery.
Yeah, so for speedy recovery. But besides that, I just got one thing to say. My name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And what do? We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.